told them, I'm like, if nobody ever thought outside the box, I mean, we wouldn't have these Apple phones. Yeah. We wouldn't have Amazon. We wouldn't have all the great things that we have in our world if no one ever flexed outside the box.
You're producing a show here today.
Yeah. Wow. Are we rolling?
Are we rolling?
Good talk. All right. Welcome back to Them Three
How
Podcast.
long has that been rolling, by the
I
way?
don't know. There's probably something that can be pulled out of there. But we're back. We got Gilbert, Jeremy, John from Longboards. I've been really excited to have this for quite a while. And I never point fingers, but I'm going to point fingers at Logan. I've been telling him get this one set. So
he's been working on it for a couple months.
I know.
Yeah.
Every time I ask him, I'm like, hey, what's our stats? He's like, I've been working on it. I was like,
that's on us.
So once I saw it was booked, I was pumped. But I want to start off, I want to start off with you guys kind of introducing yourselves, your roles in Longboard, but then kind of what Longboards holds to me as an individual too, before we progress in. So who wants to kick it off?
Gilbert should go first, for sure.
My name is G Money. I'm the founder, head dishwasher. No, actually, I'm Gilbert Macapagal, and I'm one of the founder. My wife is the second one. Well, it's just that I was in business for 2 years, and then John came along.
Two is probably
eight.
It was eight. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, was
No, it was 5 years.
That all went so fast.
Yeah.
It felt like two.
It was 04 to 11.
Yeah, being broke is
You
just
just
like make you
oversimplified
forget
a
a lot.
shit.
Yeah, you really
Yeah.
summarized a lot of stuff. in two
Exactly.
sentences.
That's the
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah.
Makes you forget stuff.
He cuts himself short.
No,
He's
he
way
passed
too
that
humble,
quick to
man.
me.
Yeah.
Well, the story is how you take 35K into something with longboards now. And that's my story.
Well, that barely buys you an oven and 2 coolers now.
Actually, you should see the first longboards. You're going to laugh. And people are like going, what the hell is this guy's doing? But,
Maybe yeah.
you know what I mean?
Or maybe how he broke his son's piggy bank to like literally fill the cash to the first
Literally.
one.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a real
a
gave up
true
your house
story.
to make it all work.
Exactly. That's one of the things. But, you know, I just want to let people know that American dream is still alive and well. It's there for taking if you want it, but you got to work hard for it. It's not going to fall on your lap. But I'm one of the story that I didn't waste my grandfather's effort to come here in America, and they said, work hard. I did that for a while, you know, work hard, and then all of a sudden, I just decided to work for myself. And that's what the beauty of America.
So piggybacking off that a little bit before everyone else goes. So the funny thing is I went to Longboards over off North Oak as a kid.
Yeah.
Like
What age?
I was young. So my dad was working out at OG.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when Olympic Gym was over there.
menu.
Oh, yeah.
What?
That's what the
Menu.
OG's named
I know.
after, yeah.
So I like all the OG menu, like I knew all those guys.
Yep.
And Longboards would
Jason.
deliver over to the gym.
Yeah.
So I was always super excited. So when I was little, why I wanted to go to the gym with my dad was because I got longboards.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So getting to experience as a kid, like there was nothing like it. And I was like, my parents were getting a divorce, and like my dad would go to the gym, and I was like, can we go to the gym? Like I didn't want to work out. I wanted longboards. And so I'd be sitting up front eating longboards when it would get brought in. I was just so excited every time. So like full circle when it came around that we got like the opportunity to work with longboards. I remember when we sat down with you guys at the Liberty location. I have never been somebody that was like bummed not to get an account. Just like, oh, it's not time.
Yeah.
I came home. My wife's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, I had a shot at longboards and I didn't get it. I was like,
It's a long play.
it didn't realize it at the time. I was like, I would have probably done it for free. I was like,
We couldn't afford you, bro.
Yeah, we
We
could.
couldn't afford you,
Yeah.
man.
but it's just so cool how it comes full circle. And that's why I was like, it was just such a staple of my childhood. I had been in and out. I ate hundreds, if not thousands, of longboard wraps as a kid.
That's
And
the most fortunate thing that, being in business for 20 years, it's just some of these kids grew up with us. Like, my dad used to take me to longboards, and, it kind of like make us, in our hearts, it's just like, wow, we did something.
And they have kids now too.
And they have kids now
Their
too.
kids too.
Yeah.
A few
And it's
generations.
crazy that think about it, I never thought that it will expand that into 8 stores.
Yeah.
I was happy with one, and we were happy with two, but then again, it's just that we found the formula, the partnership, and the people, the right team. You got to have the right team. If you don't, it just
None of it works.
yeah, just the effort doesn't really go as much.
And to that also, as I tell people, I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but I feel happiness is found in progression. And I feel that the entrepreneur spirit, the true entrepreneurs that win in our world, seek progression nonstop. Something that never stops. Like I see it in guys that are, I mean, they've been in business for 40 plus years and they're still trying to think of the next cutting edge thing. It's just a wire. I don't know if it's plugged in or unplugged, one or the two.
What's next? What's next?
But it's
Always,
just-
what's next?
That's how I run all the time. That my wife's like, one night she's like, when is enough enough? Because she goes, you just run, your head never turns off. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, there's not a number I'm chasing. There's nothing that I'm chasing. It's the fun of the game.
It's the hunger.
It is.
You know, it's just like thinking you put yourself in a little success, you don't want to go back to that stage again. So you keep going progression and progression. And being afraid of losing it every day is what drives me. You know,
Yeah.
like this can be lost in blink of an eye.
Well, there's
But-
so many different metrics of success too. You know, it's not all physical, financial. It's not all take over the world. I mean, there's everything we've done has been really holistic, like almost in our personal lives too. And that's why we've moved pretty slow and conservatively because all three of us are lucky to kind of share that same headspace where we all have kids. You know, they've each got 3, I've got 2, and we've grown steadily, and we're all probably busybodies. You know, like movement creates motivation, and it's hard for I think any of us to sit still. That's probably one of our curses and best qualities and weaknesses. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways we kind of pursue like what makes us happy.
Yeah.
So you ask like, are you know,
Yeah.
when you wake up, you go, am I still happy with what I'm doing? Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
And I go, are these guys happy with what they're doing? Are our crews happy with what they're doing? And if the answer is yes, then I think we're continuing to do the right thing.
I have
Enjoy it.
that conversation with so many business owners that success does look vastly different for everybody.
yeah.
That when I was in the car business out of college, I had lived in a broke state eating ramen and canned chicken for so long that when I came out, all I wanted was money. There was nothing else. That vision was dead set on having money.
Sure.
And I figured out how to do it. If I allocated 100% of my effort into that, I figured out how to do it really well.
Yeah.
I had the house, I had the cars, I had all the stuff. I was miserable. I had no freedom in my life. The relationships around me were wrong. I wasn't fun to be around.
Yeah.
I wasn't a happy person. That happy person that I once was gone, and it was shadowed and it was buried away. But it's when I stepped out of the car business, everyone was like, "Well, you're not making enough money." I'm like, "No, that's all I had." And trying to find what that freedom looked like to me was fighting what progression was and what I need to do all the time. But it's also owning the freedom that when I sit at home now with my wife at dinner, I own that time.
Tons of value in that.
That I talk about in my company, that you talk about that personal development. My whole statement over MMG is for us to move forward as a company, we have to focus on the people outside of the walls. What I mean by that is every employee, most businesses think about how do I optimize you 100% of the time while you're here, you're 9 to 5. My deal is how do I make your life better outside of here?
Sure.
If I make your life better outside of here, we talk about going to the gym. We talk about reading. We talk about what you're doing with your wife or your husband. We talk about what your life really looks like outside the walls and how do we make that better?
Not everyone answers that call though, but you're right.
Yeah.
It does work when it works.
Yeah. And sometimes there's people that don't fit the mold. That's fine.
That's fine. It is.
That's the nature of, that's the beauty of our world is there's people that think differently. There's people that aren't going to fit that mold. And we run as a very aggressive company in the space, very much a winner mentality. but I want people to be moving forward as an individual. I care about that more than them moving forward in the company.
The only thing I care is beating that Chipotle in Liberty. Come on,
Look,
man.
That place
More
is
flavor than Chipotle,
Just
man.
the one.
that place is a zoo. I don't know if they're like slinging drugs out of the back or what. They have to be.
I mean, seriously, it's like,
But the other thing too is I go to your guys' spot. It's a zoo there all the time.
I know, but because we don't have very many people working, we're
That
short.
was recent. That was recent.
Yeah.
I think
we had some
I
call-ins
think
this
you build a
weekend.
parking garage right in front of it where everyone knows like, well, we had to build more parking to hold all the cars for the people that are coming.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's most
Well,
of
we'd
the
have to share it with the landing though, because
Yeah.
they take half of our parking
They
every
do
night
that.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of our employees, when they come in there the first time, they thought it was just gonna be like Subway. They're gonna do like one sandwich an hour, and then all of a sudden they see the rush. You should see them. They just like,
Where did all these people come from?
Like they're turning around, real confused. But they found out that we have this thing called like from 11 to 2 o'clock is madhouse, and then it just kind of slow down, and then dinner time is kind of coast, but lunch is our strength.
Oh.
It hit the veteran OG like locations like North Oak and Liberty. They hit at dinner too, and we get those pops. But our employees like to stay busy. We actually find like the slower times is when they start to drift and wander and get a little bored. And
Yeah, that's interesting. So people who do well with us usually are kind of they're balanced in a lot of ways, but they do like to stay busy. I mean, if we've got people who don't want to be busy, then they kind of self-select.
So that is the
They don't
cool
wanna be with
thing.
us.
Yeah, that is a cool thing when you build that culture. Is the early days I had like fire those people as we've built up to like our size.
Yeah.
Now like when people come in, they don't fit the mold. They're gone like really fast.
yeah, the culture kind of takes care of itself.
They come in, they're like, I'm having a talk with the leadership group on Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fire this person next week. Like they're just not working. And then like 2 days later, they come in, they're like, I just feel like people don't like me here. I don't fit in. I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm like, awesome. I was like,
We've got this thing. So when people start, we tell them we're like 50% of you needs to be like island styling, chill, hospitality,
Board
friendliness, board shorts. And the other side of it is you're gonna have to work hard. And I mean, there is like when we find the right person, they're like, I get it. You're one of ours.
Yeah.
Come with us.
I don't know, man. When they said I couldn't wear flip flops to work anymore, I almost quit.
Oh yeah, that wasn't us. Okay, that's a health.
Yeah, it was
department.
that Indian health department told you not to wear sandals anymore.
when you got one store and 10 employees total, and I'm like one of 3 white guys, the rest are Filipino. The health department, they if you're in flip flops, they don't really care.
Yeah.
They got us finally.
Yeah.
We're in board shorts and flip flops, just really selling
Board
the
shorts are
brand.
fine.
They didn't like it.
yeah.
The one thing we're not trying to do Hawaiian style. It's basically our lifestyle is more like a California, it's melting pot there.
Yeah.
There's Koreans, Japanese, surfers,
Pacific
even.
Island Rim.
Yeah, it's just Pacific Rim style, but we're not really leaning towards what other people doing, those bro guys, you know what I mean?
So when you started,
Edit that one out.
Yeah, man.
when you started, what was the idea behind Longboards?
Well, it was an accident, actually.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. But the thing
Like
is,
most things in his life.
coming.
Lucky bastard just falls in.
Right.
He's Magoo his whole way through life.
Let me tell you about my days. But anyway, I live in San Diego for about 2 years, and then I live up burritos. Like every day is the cheapest thing. I was working at a Chinese restaurant, so I don't want to eat Chinese every day. But the thing is, you look at a burrito, and I was like, man, why can't I put fried rice on this or lo mein, And that kind of I kept that inside of me until I came home to Kansas City and worked for Cerner. And they asked me to do a special.
So how'd you go from Chinese restaurant to Cerner?
Well,
Wait, how much time do we have tonight?
As much time as we
Is there
need.
like 4 hours?
How much time we need?
well, actually, ICE agent came down in the restaurant, and I have to go home to Kansas City.
How
Sold
many
one of his
restaurants have
kidneys.
you worked for in total?
You have time?
50?
Man, I started at McDonald's, Long John Silver, Those
you
are
work
the
at
staple
Church's
for
Chicken?
immigrants. Those are staple for immigrants. McDonald's and Long John Silver.
Dre's a big fan of Long John Silver.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Fresh
keep
Atlantic
going, keep
cotton.
going. Where else? I mean, it's
Uh,
like everywhere in the city. He's worked
Ponderosa.
there.
All right. But my really serious chef job are Plaza area. And I was at Classic Cup Cafe. That was my first real chef job. And they put me on a salad, tossing salad all day. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You want ranch with that tossed salad? But anyway, I graduated to saute, and then just basically it's more like a self-learning. I didn't get any degree or anything like that, but a lot of mentor that mentored me with all this, work ethic and. Oh yeah, JJ's.
I mean,
Le Fou
it goes
Frog.
like-
You were a chef at Le Fou Frog?
Oh yeah, man.
Love it.
That dude just yelled at you for no freaking. Just open the door, he'll yell at you. You know what I mean? He's from Marseille or something.
Yeah.
But
I think that's just the French.
dude, he called me Chinaman every day. Chinaman. So I called him like, hey, how far is Quebec or Montreal? He didn't like that. French people don't like to be Canadians, bro. But it was crazy. But a lot of things that I learned along the way translated to longboards. I can do anything from French to Italian to, but those are influences. So I want to translate it, what I learned through food.
So you come over here, you're a chef at Cerner, and then
You made
Oh,
it.
sorry.
You
So
made- you
Cerner
made
was the last stop before Longboards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
so-
I didn't pee
Play.
right, so they fired me at Cerner.
It was probably the right thing for
Yeah,
them to do.
back then, when the lettuce wasn't illegal, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Longboard sales plummet 50% after this interview.
I said, I ran out of restaurant to work now because I just don't want to go back to the same grind. And working for myself, kind of like, hey, I'm doing this for myself. I'm not trying to be creative and do all this, really good stuff for other people.
You had a family at that point too.
Exactly. So I just I have 2 kids, so I just dove in head first and see what happened. That's what the beauty of having the determination, and you can go back.
So,
You just have to go forward.
so when you go out, day one, you're looking for a location.
Oh yeah, that's the funniest part. I didn't know anything about contracts or nothing like that. Or
Don't worry, I didn't either.
negotiation. I just saw
Amazing you
this
made it.
this TV satellite closed down place, and I was like, hey, that could work. And no plans, nothing. No blueprint of the kitchen or nothing like that. The health department laughed at me, actually, because it was hand drawn. I used coins, protractors, and everything like that.
A protractor. I haven't heard of a protractor being used in business today. They told us that we weren't going to get it. They're like, you're going to use a protractor all the time. And he's like, this is what they
No,
taught
in
me.
math class they
Yeah.
did. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna need this.
You're gonna need
and
this.
Then
Like,
you didn't.
oh,
What do I
yeah.
do with it now?
Yeah, now like when I carry one in my pocket every day, I'm
I
like,
still need this?
I'm still ready to use this. If
I
somebody,
can draw a perfect circle.
Man, I can't believe that was like an Asian word down there. God damn. But anyway, yeah.
Gilbert pulls out, he's like, now we're talking.
I drew the whole kitchen, dining room with coins and pencils and everything. They just started laughing at me. I was like, what you doing, bro? You know what I mean? So, the grace of God, the lady was so nice, and she said, do this, you'll be approved. And I did. I got one guy to draw it on a computer and everything like that. So, it's a lot of struggle, but when you're that mindset that you're trying to build something, just so you don't care anything else. It just the pain will come as
So early on, we knew each other before he opened up Longboards, and early on, I don't know how. At some point, I think maybe Glenn had told me that like Gilbert opened a restaurant, you got to go try it. So it was very early on, and I showed up, and of course the food was great because the food's fully finger. But it's like
Where's
but,
the money?
but yeah, yeah.
So I
Thank
owe
you.
you.
But it's like I walk in and it's like Gilbert running the whole show. Like he's taking the order, he's making the order, he's doing everything, and he's cleaning the tables. It's a one-man show, And I'm like, how many people did you serve today? He's like, you know what? I'm at 20. If I get to 25, then I break even. Like that was a great day.
Oh, yeah.
25 people show up to buy wraps.
I said 50.
Count the tickets.
That will pay the electric. That will pay
Yeah, if I can get to
me.
50.
That will pay my airsoft guns. That will pay. It was crazy, but we were like counting 25. Oh, one day we sold 25. I was so happy. I was like, we're so busy, man. We're like 25 all day, dude. But and then start progressing to like 30, 40, and then after that they're like, dude, we can't count anymore. The hell with the tally, And it's just from there, just the progression, kind of like we're getting known to word of mouth, and it works back then because there's no MySpace is the one that you know what I mean.
But the other thing too is like I've always told everyone, like any business owner I talk to, the great product and great service will always trump great marketing.
Yeah.
And you never hear a marketing person say that.
Yeah.
And it's my thing is product and service will always stand higher.
Yeah.
And it's when you have a great product and great service, marketing's really easy actually.
Yeah.
Like
Well, if
Just
you'd
an
have seen him
amplifier.
in the early days, when I say he was going table to table, I mean literally he was going to table.
I'm
table to
pretty
table.
sure like going in there as a kid, I remember like
Yeah, he'd come and check up on you.
there was you had I could have just two because I was probably pretty small at the time. Like you had some like big Samoan looking dudes like in there too, yeah, right. Like
They come in from Maple Woods. They're
Yeah.
like baseball players.
yeah, I remember coming in there. I'm like, dude, the biggest guys I've like ever seen work at Longboards, and
Yeah.
like they looked like what's the Rock, the guy that plays in Moana or whatever.
Maui.
Yeah,
Joshua.
dude. I remember seeing this guy like when I just go in there all the time. I remember him like I can almost picture him to a T.
Yeah.
And I was probably like 10, 11, 12 at the time. Like I'm 30 now. Like it was just like it was so cool, the vibe and the atmosphere when you went in there. I felt like I stepped outside of Missouri.
He
Yeah.
would go table to table, and I'd watch him do it. He'd go table to table and check on everyone, like it's a a white linen type of place, 5-star Michelin, whatever. And he'd go table to table and check on everyone, and bring cookies over for the kids, and like refill drinks, and do all these things. And so now it's the kind of thing where we're like, hey, we just want you to do what Gilbert did. Gilbert did this.
Yeah.
It's hard to translate that, especially when you grow. It's just that, but you keep the core,
Yeah.
Service, we're still known for service. And you add that with a good food. I mean, you progress.
Like we were talking in there, like people don't always remember what you say or what you do, but they always remember how you make them feel.
yeah.
And there is a level of feeling that Longboards gave me as a kid. Like there's a level of feeling that certain restaurants have when you go in there. It's because of the service that you get. It's because of the food that you get. That there's something when you leave there. It's something inside that you can't correlate it to $1 and cent anywhere.
We want to take you on a vacation for 30 minutes. That's what we always try to tell.
Yeah.
Like you got that 30 minutes, we want to make it awesome for you. Either the music, the service, or the food.
So are you still the designer of the inside of them all?
They stopped me because
Nah, you're
they
still
said,
doing
hey, it's getting
You're
ghetto
still
there,
doing
bro.
it.
I go, I
Wow.
go to thrift store. I go to,
There was a lot of duct tape on a lot of different like pictures, like duct tape to the wall.
okay,
We
I
had to
decorated the
move
first
on from that.
restaurant with Target mats. All right, they're like, oh, this look Hawaiian,
Like on the wall.
Yeah, dude. I went to Hobby Lobby. It was most of the decoration was made in the garage because my wife refused to give me a Hawaiian or island room. It was
Well,
like
there was no eBay back then.
exactly.
Dude, I feel like we have very much
Amazon.
the same vibe because I'm not allowed to have like a private cigar room in my house. So I built my office to kind of look like the private cigar room I
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
So I come in, I'm like doing these dark walls, like all like kind of warm lit, like all brown cognac chairs. And people are like, what's your like theme behind all this? I'm like, the cigar lounge I don't have. Because I would always have people ask like who designs it.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always been like blown away by is when you go into a place, there's something that you just can't,
It's the homey feeling.
yeah, you can't hit it
Yeah.
again. Like,
People ask me, they're like, what is this whole thing? I go, it's the inside of Gilbert's head. When you walk inside of these places and you see the colors and you see the surfboards and the art and the food and everything else, that's what came out of
Yeah.
his head, and now we all get to live in it.
yeah.
It's a good place to be.
I,
Most of
I
the
understand.
time.
There's sometimes like it's bouncing around in there, and you're like, dude, it's a good idea. I see it. I just like trust me, like, because I do the same thing in my office when I'm like, hey, yeah, we're doing this, this, and this, and like when I bought a full size short bus and we brought it into the office, everyone's like, maybe it's time that he goes into a insane asylum. Like maybe we put him in that padded room now, and then all of a sudden it kind of comes together, and they're like, oh, this is legit.
Yeah.
Like, but in my head, I can see that end product so clearly each time. Like, guarantee when you look at that new spot, like, you go start looking at stuff, you're like, I have no other idea how that fits in there, but I need it.
Well, what is that? It's been like, what, 10 years or 12 years running? I found this album, Loggins and Messina, and they look like my employees. Him and his best friend. I was like, bro, look at this shit. It was like, it's you guys, hippie motherfuckers. And I was like, put down Jeremy and Ron. And I put it on that counter, and we're like, hey, who's Jeremy and Ron? You know, like, oh, that this two right over here.
These are the days when we'd come in on Monday and say, all right, no more crushed nuts on the tie bowls. I'm fucking serious, guys. All right, cool. We come in on
Tuesday.
Wednesday, and he'd be like, where's the fucking crushed nuts on all the tie bowls? And we'd be like, bro, what are you talking about
What you
right
said. I don't care what I said.
now? 48 hours ago, you 86 this ingredient. He's like, I don't give a shit what I said.
That's when I was like Jesse
Guns
James.
slinging,
From
dude.
the-
It was never boring though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was 15 years ago.
Bra, 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 bra.
Jeremy's
Oh, yeah.
trying to keep
Dude,
up.
Dude, they're trying to keep up with
Yeah.
me. It was hard.
But
I'm so random.
I'm very simple. Like, my thing is, like, when I'm just such a fast action taker, like, they're probably laughing because they're like, dude,
Sounds
they're
familiar.
too, like, the similarities that I come up with something. If I'm in bed at night, I'm like, and I'm ready for
We're
it.
doing
It's
it.
like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
I come in the next morning, it's like you said, it's Jesse James, like, you're pulling them out. And it's like, you're going, and then they're like, but I'm like, I don't want any fucking butts. Like, we're going forward with this. And then all of a sudden we're like moving, and then it just like flops. And then I'm like, retreat, we're going back this way. And then they're like, I'm like, nah, it's not working. It's not working. I see it's not working.
On
Skip
any
that
given
part.
day, he will send me a text that says, like, let's say, for example, we've got a menu item we've had
3
for like
a.m.
20 years. 3 a.m. He's like, we're changing the name. I'm like, and for me, it's like, now what? What do we do? What do we change the name to? And sometimes we change the name, and other times I'm like, man, the name really doesn't need to be changed. Like, it's doing really well.
Let's change the name of our restaurant.
Let's change the name of our restaurant. I'm like, all
I
right,
know.
That's a real.
Now I gotta,
That's
like,
a real
I was
idea.
like, really, that's a real idea.
Longboards.
We're like, bro, we can't
And
change
I'm
the
like,
name of the
I'm like,
restaurant.
we got a lot invested in this name.
But the truth, I just gotta give it to John. He's the rhyme and reason now. All right, he's the one that
He's the
settled us
voice of
down.
reason.
And the expansion won't happen with this genius right here.
Well-
Because the thing is, I don't have the capability. As soon as you say, hey, negotiation, I'm like, what?
So you need the if you're at Rocket Fuel, we talk about the visionary, the integrator. Like,
For sure.
you have to have the integrators involved. Like, my leadership team that I built around me, they're the integrators.
Make the ideas happen.
Yeah.
Yes, I am the idea guy. That I'm the grand, like, it's so big that I come there and I'm like, I present it all, and then it's, how do we make this a reality?
Sure.
And they're the ones that are going to plug it all in, make it happen. But it's like, I can think that crazy idea that I'm like, and they've seen enough of it work that now they're like, okay, it's not as crazy as it sounds.
So I've for a while I've considered myself an editor or an engineer. Same thing. So Gilbert, for instance, is like
This is Tupac
just
manager.
throwing
You know
things
what
at me,
I'm saying?
and I'm learning how to like parry. Okay, get that one. That one's gold. parry, block. And so
Oh,
like
yeah.
like he'll come up with like great ideas that I would never come up with.
I used to like not talk to him for like a week because he shut down.
I
the
shut something
idea.
down.
I
I
was
was like,
like,
that's
yeah,
a
man.
loser, man.
Hey, you want to go to lunch? All right.
Yeah, that's right. Then we get lunch and everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That happens a lot.
We've had some scuffles.
Yeah, there's a lot of
You know.
scuffles.
Remember
only
back
only
in the
one
days?
physical one. That was you guys. I never got
Whatever.
physical.
Dude, what he was like, the introduction of John to longboards, it was like a battle.
Yeah,
These
it
guys
didn't-
were
it
like-
didn't go smoothly.
who's this H&R guy that
They
you
did not
bring
love
it
me.
in?
Well, he walked in
Now,
with
right
his
off the bat,
glasses and
he
his
goes,
tucked-in shirt.
no, he was using
Look,
me.
this guy's got a tucked in shirt. Get him out of
Totally.
here.
Back when that was cool.
Yeah.
He was using me
Guy's
because
a
he got
yank.
his people. He goes, I'm bringing it corporate. You guys are going to have to clean up your act.
Yeah.
You just wait.
Yeah.
You know, I came with the tucked in shirt and they knew I meant business at that
Yeah.
point, you know?
He set you
Like,
up right out of the gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, no more like bagging chicken for 20 minutes and then go smoke break. Hell no. I was like, John gonna put the stop on that.
And at that point, I was like, I guess I'm putting a stop to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we
Kinda
hate
like-
John. We hate John.
Totally. That went on for like 2.5 years.
Dude, it has
Like
to
they
be
wouldn't
you.
talk to me for like 2 years.
Good
Like
cops,
I come in
bad
and they'll like
cops.
turn their heads this way.
I was the good
I'm
cop
like,
for
you
a
guys
while.
know I signed your check, right? They're
Yeah.
like,
He was like, he's not my boss.
yeah.
I was
Gilbert's my
I
boss.
was like, come here, bro. Just do whatever you know.
John's mean. We know that. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah.
It was like what bad cop and good cop the whole time.
Yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
that's reversed.
And
Like,
then
those
they
polls have
reversed.
reversed like
Yeah.
8 different
Then
times.
Gilbert came in, and they were like both walking out. They're like, we can't be both doing bad
Yeah.
cop. We
Totally,
can't both be
totally.
bad cop.
We can't both be good, can't both be bad.
He wants
Let's
me to grill
synchronize
Korean
this.
barbecue in the back, bro. I was like,
Well,
I
yeah.
don't think the health department will approve that. I was like, yeah, I want you to smoke some pork in the back. I was like, oh no, we can do that.
You have a problem, you know, with Gilbert. You either were going to get the answer you wanted or the answer you didn't want, but it was going to be in about 30 seconds. And you at least had the answer.
You're
and it
gonna
was
get an answer.
Time to move on. John comes around and you'd ask
It's
a
the
question. He'd be
opposite.
like, he'd answer your question with a question. And you're
That's
like,
that's
"You
some
son
corporate
of a
shit
bitch."
there. That's the corporate guys when I get around them.
It would just make you'd go cross-eyed. And you go,
You're like, no, you're not asking. I was asking the questions.
Yeah.
and the next thing you know, you've talked way too much. You realize he hasn't said 2 words, and you're like, I just gave him all of my leverage.
I have none now.
I've backed myself into a corner. I'm now behind the 8 ball. This motherfucker did exactly what, so it was hilarious. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's like it's always sunny in Philadelphia shit. I mean, it was
Oh yeah,
ridiculous.
I was what Charlie,
You wouldn't believe some of
the
those
random
stories,
guy.
honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His den is always worried about shit.
I think that made me Danny DeVito,
Oh,
unfortunately.
You're the financier. You know what I mean?
Psychopath.
But
It's funny though because like as we've progressed, we're like, hey, we probably need to like hone more in as a leadership group of like processes, things like that. I'm not the process guy. I don't like fucking processes. I'm like, I think it hinders creativity. I think there's a lot of things that, but I read a lot of books that I know it needs to be there. That's
Sure.
part of scale. But it's always playing that fine line of not becoming too process oriented to lose sight of the creativity piece of it. And we're at my house, what was that, December, I had the whole leadership group here. We're sitting in there. And Alex is running as our COO, and he's been in the corporate world. And I was like, just so you know, dude, you got like 2 hours, and this thing's gonna fucking derail 10 Ways to Tuesday. I don't have more than 2 hours in me to stay on just bad. And I'm like, 2 hours in, we start. I'm like, I finally get up. I'm like, we are not fucking corporate. Period. And I'm like, and then he like looks at me, he stops. I'm like, write that on the fucking board. We are not fucking corporate.
So I
So
was
much,
when- at first I was like, corporate's coming and he's gonna work this all out for you, and then eventually he's like, it's the same thing. He's like, we're not doing this. The corporate
dude,
way."
you know what changed? I went to the mailbox, pulled out that check. I was like, yes, we're going corporate. John, yes.
More corporate.
John, more corporate.
GM meeting, we're all going corporate. Keep them coming.
This is what happens when you manage your margins.
Yeah,
You
bro.
profit.
5 check came out of that envelope. I'm like, God damn, okay, we're going fucking corporate, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy, but no.
It is funny since we've, I'm not going to say we've went corporate, but since we've got a little more dialed in, I'm like, oh, there's a lot more money to be made.
Yeah.
This whole losing money thing we were doing before wasn't
Yeah.
real cool.
You find the money in the couch cushions.
Come on
Yeah.
now, top $5 billion company. They're corporate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which
Do
will
it.
never be, but
Yeah.
we'll never go that far.
But I think I hope when really, really corporate comes in, I'm like in the Bahamas. You know. You know.
He's like, look at that check. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're super corporate.
Yeah. Corporate. Boats and hoes. You know what I mean?
Gotta get some of that. Great
Yeah, I know. Boats and hoes, bro.
He's out there just step right to go to Carolina fucking wine mixer out here.
Oh, man.
Well, it's 50s, 40s, 30s, so he's a little ahead of us. He's like, let's go,
Yeah,
guys. I'm ready.
He's a bit older.
I need to.
Well, tell you, like, tell me that you sold your company without telling me. I'll have like 2 Samoan guys following me. Next to me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna get taken. What the hell? You know what I'm saying?
No one's taking you, Gilbert.
I'd like
Don't
that.
let him know that. It's a beautiful place.
His head is that there's just like these
Let
2
it
small
happen,
guys are
man.
fighting people off all the time.
Yeah, there's always people trying to take him.
Happens twice a day.
It's like play fucking heavy, man. Play dense.
Then once you get the Samoans, you won't have to anymore.
I know. They gotta take a break sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Play dense, dude. But that's the Longboards guy. Hey, that's the Longboards guy. Fucking like a nice fucking Hawaiian band came
Pick you
out.
up like a baby, run out with you.
Fuck the bros, man.
Edit that one too.
Just wait until I find out they're white dudes. You know what I'm saying?
This is why we don't put him on
Bro,
camera
holy.
much.
He doesn't normally do these.
This is why we've never done this in 20 years.
I told you not to invite me to podcast.
So congrats, you guys are the first ones to get all
Dude,
three of
I
us.
told you
I've-
this.
You're
I've
going to
been pod-
expose us now.
I've been podcasting for 150 plus weeks and I've not laughed this hard on a podcast.
Sorry, bro.
Oh my
I
god.
didn't mean to ruin the podcast today. You know,
Oh my god.
No one else may like it, but we love it.
I
Yeah,
know.
this is great.
Come on, Vivid. Sponsor me, Vivid.
Oh man,
I'll make your product really boom, bro.
Jeremy, how'd you get involved in this?
Yeah, on to you. Where'd you come from before corporate came in?
Oh, shit.
When the corporate staff, when they start going to like Colorado, they're like all growing up.
yeah, they did. They grew up.
Dude,
You guys
yeah,
all grew up.
the whole like what employees go to a festival in Colorado, but Colorado was the legal state back in the days. I was like, yeah, go, man. I'll close
I'll
this
shut the
Sunday,
store down.
bro.
I'll shut the store
Just
down
bring me
for you.
goodies, man. Here's the money. Bring me goodies. They like come home. They're like one is like had a broken arm, you know.
Dane
Yeah, Dane and him like got like
following Jesus on the magic
yeah,
carpet.
he had like a broken foot because he stepped on a fucking glass. I was like, okay, we're shorthanded now, bro.
All these things are true. Too. It's not true.
Not made up.
It's ridiculous. I mean, like I said, you can't make it up.
But dude, I mean, this Jeremy is one of those people that kind of grew up with the company, and he saw the potential, you know. And we just, dude, this guy makes my job so easy. I mean, you put the right person.
That's
What I'll
This
say
is the
about
testament.
Jeremy is he's been with us since he was 20, maybe earlier. And so, like, you know, Gilbert and I took different paths to get to this point we're at. And that is a good thing. And so this guy has been, you know, when he and I can't communicate, it's better than it was 8 years ago or 10 years ago. We're good, but 10 years ago, like, we couldn't communicate. He was our translator. And so that was like the first thing where I'm like, oh, this guy can do some things. And I mean, even to this point, I mean, just last year, I was like, man, there's a bunch of things that I'm not going to do anymore. And you're the one that's going to get them. And he's like, sounds good. And he's taken everything that I do, and some of them he's done better. And he just keeps taking more things on and keeps learning, and just keeps evolving. It's like that's not common.
yeah. I think the coolest thing in business is when you have people that outdevelop yourself and what you can do. I think that's like my biggest win is watching all these people around me that they came on in a state not even knowing what they were doing. And then they progress right past me in their respected field.
Yeah.
And I'm like, people come in all the time and they're asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know, let's talk to these guys. Let's talk to these girls handle this. Like, and then all of a sudden people are like, I thought you owned the place. I'm like, yeah, I got a lot of people that are much smarter than myself around me. I'm like, if I can go down for just putting the right people in the room, that's all I need to be remembered for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, I think we're to a point with him where we're like, man, we got to make some stuff up because he's pretty much learned it all. So what are we going to teach him? I don't know. We got to go read some books. And
corporate
Get
shit.
something new. Yeah, he's getting it.
Yeah, no shit. How do
Well,
I ruin
When
the
super
people's fucking
corporate
lives?
comes in.
I know, man. You're gonna see me like, what's up, motherfuckers? I was like, "Oh, what is this shit doing here? You know, like I'm like that. But hopefully, you know, the progression from us is like doesn't change what we're trying to accomplish. I know it's kind of like when you get big, you forget a lot of stuff, but we're not trying to do that. We're trying to still keep the core. You know, my idol is In and Out, as you can see. They're not advertising, but they're like really growing strategically, like controlled chaos or whatever they call it. You know, it's just they're methodically positioning themselves so they won't lose.
Yeah.
But
When did you get involved?
15 years ago. So it was 2010, and I was about 20. So me and my wife were living in Phoenix at the time, and I was going to school for audio engineering. And I was going to move to Nashville, California, wherever a job was. I played music my whole life, so wasn't much of an entertainer. Don't like really being in the limelight. So I was like, well, always figured I'd have a 9 to 5, wanted a family. Me and my wife have been together for 17 years, and so I kind of knew she was going to be the lady I would end up with and start something off here. She's like, I'm moving back to Kansas City. I'm not going to leave my family. Either you're coming back with me, but if you move away, I'm not going. And so it was an easy choice, obviously. Love you, baby, obviously.
He's getting brownie points for that one.
So we moved back to Kansas City and took a few months off, partied pretty hard because I had never really not worked or gone to school ever in my life. My wife was working at the time. She fucking hated me. She was cleaning houses, working like 16 hours, like washing walls and ceilings, and
I'm raging with my
come home
friends.
at 3 a.m, pissed drunk, just So that didn't last long though. Savings was getting low, and then bumped into Longboards just to pay rent. Just I was still looking for an audio gig, maybe trying to work for a news station or something like that. Something steady, something consistent. I was trying to seek.
Is
comfort.
15 years steady?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Found
And
that.
yeah. And
Steady. 15 years.
he came
He said,
out.
"Oh yeah."
Oh yeah. He came out with a big butcher knife, sat down, and he was like, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And he's like, "How's your knife skills?" And I was like, "I mean, pretty good, And he's like, I mean, it was all right. I had worked in a few kitchens. I mean, I knew how to, like actually.
I mean, if somebody
julienne shit and stuff.
if somebody asked me my knife skills, I don't know if I would know how to answer that correctly.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna cut my fingers off. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what
I
the.
can hold it.
Yeah.
Terrible to pretty good. I mean, there's
I mean, I don't know
room
what.
for interpretation there.
I don't know what 10 is. And I don't know what 1 is. So I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know, somewhere in the middle. Like,
yeah.
Actually, I stole them from Ginger Soup. He got tired of the morning shift. It was like, man, I'm tired of those sugar bacon always burning me and shit.
Gosh, I love going to dinner.
Yeah, I was like, hey, just
That's
come
good.
full time with me. You know what I mean?
The most ironic part is the owner of Ginger Sue's called me up and he's like, Jeremy, you're not making your cob wraps fast enough. We need to talk about it. And the irony is I went to go work for a wrap shack, and that's all I did.
I'm gonna go try to
I got better.
refine my skills over here.
better.
Okay.
That was the goal.
Yeah, I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
No, the owners of Ginger Sue's are wonderful people, and they have great food, great product.
They do have great food.
They do.
Second that.
He was trying to use it as a leverage. It didn't work out. But I was like, man, Ginger Sue is trying to hire me back. I was like, yeah, go. You're like morning shift, right, bro? Wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, making them biscuits. He was like, okay, no, I'm staying here, bro.
I think I started this will be crazy next year for the high school kids. But I think I started like $7.50 an hour or something like that. And man, the rest is really history. We were there for 2-3 years. Then saw a corporate guy wandering in, eating his Viet noodle bowls and stuff, looking behind the line, asking questions. I'm kidding. But then they incorporated, partnered up, and we opened Liberty in 2012.
Yeah, that was the
And-
biggest step. I mean,
Yeah.
Liberty was open for $60,000.
I'll
That was
say
like-
the Liberty location, I think, is a really cool setup. I think just like that standalone with the garage door, like
Hard to find.
it is like it's one of those things that I struggled when we moved into the River Market location. Had like crazy thing was our River Market location goes on LoopNet. I see it like the day it goes up.
Yeah.
I'm calling commercial real estate agents like crazy. I can't get anybody on the phone. I'm like, do any of these people work? Like, what's going on here? I was like, I finally get the first guy on the phone. I was like, hey, can I go look at this place tomorrow morning? He's like, starts asking me if I qualify and stuff. I'm like, I have no earthly idea. I'm like, there's no photos of the place on here. I was like, I want to go see it, see if I'm interested. He's like, all right, man. So we go there. It's 415 Delaware. All growing up, my dad owned 315 Delaware. It was on the same street, so I grew up my whole life right there. And so it was like, I walked in, it was full of shit to the ceiling. I told the guy, I'm like, I want it. He's like, so we can go back with negotiations. And he starts going on. I'm like, I'm not negotiating. I'm like, I can afford what it is. I want it. Or I'm not going to lose it. So I get into the spot. We make it ours, and it's got these huge high ceilings, this huge loft that like kind of overlooks the whole office. Yeah, and it was like, that was step one. But then I also, like you have that first location that like what has a different feeling to it.
Yeah, it does.
That how do you get that feeling into another spot?
Totally. Liberty has it.
100%. And that was like,
Mission has it.
Just so
so
when they
Mission has
age
formed like
a
its
little
own
yeah.
group.
that when they age, like
Only
Lee
Mission.
Summit is becoming like
Yeah,
that.
the summits.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And that
That's
was-
the age.
I think it was something that I walked in the crossroads, and Ricky and I ran over there one day. It like popped up once again. I have this like
Great
weird.
space.
Thank you.
We were in it. I don't know if Logan told you. We were in it like a year ago doing like we rented it
Yeah.
to do like a meeting there.
Uh-huh.
Man, this place is so cool. But it was like a hair salon or something. It
Yeah.
was-
They were doing a med spa like out of the front, and she was trying to cover rent by leasing the space out.
Yeah, and so we were in it, and so like even this November, I tried to get it again. I'm like, it's not available anymore. I didn't realize that was where you guys had went.
So I had like 4 people reach out, and they're like, "Hey, we've been renting this space out through this lady." I'm like, "I'm not interested. I don't need to rent it out."
yeah, we're good.
And they're like, and they're
So
like,
you do have a corner in the back available. I
yeah,
saw
they're
it.
like, like no, like your space pulls a good price tag because it has a full size commercial kitchen in it, and people just can't find that. And like when we first moved in, I had person after person coming in for like the first like 4 weeks. Like, what's it take to rent your spot? I'm like, it's
Like,
not for
we're kinda
rent.
here, my man.
I'm like, and one lady comes in, she's like, well, we need to put some sheets up to cover the graffiti. You need to get your cars out. I'm like, this seems like a huge pain in the ass. I'm like, not interested. She's like, no, like, well, we need it. I was like, I don't really give a shit. It's my spot.
Yeah.
Oh, when
So-
we were there, I loved it. I mean, the kitchen and the couches and
Yeah.
the industrial
Yeah.
feel and all that. And it's close to everything that's
But-
crossroads.
It was something when Ricky and I walked in, I was like, that's the spot. Like, it was just the gut feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're pulling trigger on it. So we leave, and I call my agent. I was like, make this offer. This is what I want. I was like, but whatever you do, don't lose the deal. And he gets the whole deal put together. And then my brother, finance guy on the side, he's sitting there, and he's like, he goes, I go,
Yeah,
then I called Dre after I got
Find
the deal
some
put
money
together.
for this.
I go, hey, just so you know, we got a new office, 8,200 square feet. We're in like
With a
4,000,
garage door.
2 garage doors.
2 garage doors.
I was like, you can't pull in one of them, so it's kind of weird. But I
You
called
make
him,
it
was like,
work.
he goes, what's the game plan with our current office? I go,
Didn't think about that.
I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
You deal with that.
And he goes, and I go, well, I was like, realistically, if our office at 5,500 a month takes us down, it's not like we shouldn't be in business anyways. And he goes, I like how you look at it as the cheaper of the 2 offices. He's like, you didn't formulate that as what if the $12,000 office takes us down. I was like, no, I was like, because we'll be occupying that one, so it's that one that would take us down. and then it ends up the whole deal works out great. The building sold. I end up getting out of a 3-year lease. Like they buy us out of the whole thing. It was like worked out great.
Nice.
And my brother, he's like, he goes, I swear you are always the luckiest person. I'm like, good things happen to good people. Just do the right thing, and the world will always come back to you in the right times.
Yeah. Sure.
And I've always just like made a jump, and I'm like, it's a jump of faith, and I'm like, things are gonna happen.
it
It is karma.
He pays it forward.
I'm a big believer of that, man. I mean, it just, life is what you put in it.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you
what you put in it.
you put negative things out in the world, I promise you, negative things are gonna
Oh
happen.
yeah.
You put out good things into the world, and you make those network connections. It's wild the things that have connected back to me from college.
Yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah.
that have connected back from people that I just did the right thing at that time. Business owners that 4.5 years ago, that when we started, I sat down with and I went over their companies, and now all of a sudden they're coming back into our funnel and they're like, I remember when you sat down and you helped us out and didn't ask for anything.
I'm having this conversation with my 19-year-old right now, which is like, enjoy where you're at, form those bonds, form those relationships, treat people good. And you know what? In 10, 20 years, you may come back around, and that person who's like kind of a friend now, they may be your best friend in 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first met, I was hanging with Glenn, and you were around, and like, we weren't like best friends immediately. But then fast forward 20 years, 15 years, whatever it was, and it's like, here we are for the past 13
Because you never
years.
know.
It's
Yeah, you
amazing
never
how you
know.
can be on two roads that are so far apart.
Yeah, totally.
And it's
we're
like,
so far
you're
apart.
like, oh, I kind of like this guy, but like our worlds just aren't in the same like.
I know
realm.
him, I trust him, I like him.
Yeah, and then it's all of a sudden like later on in life, they just kind of same thing with my buddy that has the McDonald's. It was like one of those things that we were friends in college, but it's like after college, our pathways went two different ways.
Yeah.
They went way out, and now all of a sudden they've like merged back together.
Well, it's almost like this thing where it's like, anyone you meet, and I mean, maybe not anyone, but, people that you like get along with pretty quickly, like, people who are your people. Like, I mean, treat them like they could be your best friend in 15 years, because they might be.
Yeah.
They might come back together, and who knows what happens.
Well, you might be in the side of the road and they just pass by.
Yeah, totally.
The people that you helped out, they're like, see you, they'll help
I
you
got to
out.
stop for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also look at it as life, business, whatever it is a game. And it's like there's people that play a game very short and they win short. There's people that play a really long game and they win really big.
Longevity.
It is, and it's something like early days in business. I did things that if somebody was watching a spreadsheet, if somebody was watching, like I still do it now, that I make deals and I put things together, and if some private equity firm was looking at my books, they would say this makes no sense. But that's what has made MMG what it is today, and it's the same thing as what has made Longboards what it is today, and it's doing the right thing at the time for the longer vision of it. There's a lot of things I do that I cannot justify a dollar and cent to it. That mathematically makes no sense. But I'm like, longevity of business, I feel like if we're playing a game of chess, this is setting us up for a better move 10 moves from now.
And putting something back on your business, really, what's important? It's like, you see a lot of places like, they've been there for 10 years, but like look like they never really put anything on their business. The thing is just you keep investing, it will grow the way it's supposed to.
Which, to that point, I always talk on getting into the arena of what it really takes. Like I always talk about the man in the arena. Like I chose the marketing world for a lot of different reasons. One, I saw on the other side of the table and I hated the space. I hated the people I sat across from. Two, I thought it was just a really weak industry. That I saw the people that were operating in it, and it was like, there's those people that you just cross, and I'm like, you put me up against them on anything, I win. And I saw this whole industry. I'm like, I haven't ran into a person that I think could beat me. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I know I might not be as smart as them in that, but I understand people way better than what they do.
Right.
Their whole philosophy was just talking over people's heads. They were confused, and then like people thought it was working. Right. And I saw that I wanted to go into something like that. But you talk about that man in the arena. It's at that time when no one else is willing to bet. It's your time to sit at the table. Like I feel that's what my position is in the company. That is when somebody has to get up that table to bet when no one else will. That's my time to come. Like when we pull the trigger on a second office location with no earthly idea how that pans out, it's my time to bet. When we need to find the money to open up a sales office and do all that, my brother's sitting there stressing to the nines looking at it like, what are you doing? Sure. I was like, I got it. Always got it. Like,
yeah.
But that's the game I get to play. I want the biggest problem in the room. The biggest problem that lies there, that biggest bet that someone has to push out there, that's when I get to sit at the table.
So we see this pretty frequently in our world where people make a lot of short-term moves, and we sit and we go, "Oh man, that guy's doing this thing," and we've been in it long enough to where we go, "Let's wait a couple years. Let's see what happens in 2 years, what they look like in 2 years." And it's usually not a good outcome.
Yeah.
Most of the successful company they took risk. It's about risk, taking that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about
But like a long
learning from your mistakes, not repeating it.
Which the other thing too is when you're taking there's also people that take a risk and they hold on to it because it was their decision, and they will run it all the way to the bottom of the ocean because it was their decision.
Sure.
There's sometimes that you have to cut ties
Yeah.
and get back to the level water.
Yeah.
That
When you just
it's-
have to take
yeah.
the loss.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of times
Dump
that
it.
I've taken things and I'm like, that was a good idea. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Abort.
I'm
Ejecto-cedo.
like
Fuck
reverting,
yeah.
but it's like, my ego's not too high to say that I make the wrong decisions.
Yeah.
That's a lot of, like people around you, the one that give you strength. Like people, seriously, the haters back in the days when I was starting, it was just like, this is never gonna be. But you know what gave me strength is my kids,
It's a chip on that shoulder that you carry.
my brother-in-law. They just believed in what I was doing. So that's what gave me the fuel to keep going. A lot of people say it's stupid. Man, what is this? It's just gonna be flash in a pan, like it came out when that Atkins diet was popular, where like everything was on tortilla. It's like it's just flash in a pan and then it's never gonna, go maybe 2 years. But people just kept saying, "Hey man, this is something that you can get around." So I kept that spirit and I keep pushing, just grinding and grinding. And now you see wraps are staple. They're at Burger King, they're at Applebee's, and it just kind of gave that longevity game, for me.
So the funny thing is, you talk that chip on your shoulder. That when I first started, I had a meeting that guy sat down in front of me, told me 98% of businesses fail in the first 2 years.
It's true.
So I have Dom bottles that I open up on June 30th of each year. I sign. They say 98% of businesses fail in the first 2 years. I got 4 of them right now. I'm about to open my 5th. And it's just like, it's a chip on your shoulder that like, I want people to doubt me.
Yeah.
I want, if you are not if you're not getting that line of haters saying that
Yeah, it's motivating.
it is, but it's like the more successful you become, the more people are going to just say something about it. That you're going to have other restaurants to say, "Oh, that was just luck." Or I tell everyone that like luck tends to look a lot like hard work. It's wild. Like, and I tell people like I get all the time that, "Oh, you're just lucky." I'm like, lucky doesn't get up at 4:00 every morning. I do. Like,
Preparation at the intersection of opportunity.
but it's like, but I love having that chip on my shoulder that I wasn't the smartest guy in school. I was never that person that if you came into our high school and you picked out somebody that was going to be the pinnacle of what they were going to go out and really be successful. They weren't picking me. I wasn't a valedictorian of is that what it's called? Valedictorian? It wasn't me. Like whatever that person was giving the speech. Yeah, we didn't get it. So
Yeah, only people who get it know how to say it.
yeah, but it's like you looked at all these different things, and the same thing when we went to college. Like after freshman year, I was writing a letter to get back into college because my GPA was so shitty. Like you look at that roadmap of what it took to get there, and so yeah, there's a lot of people doubting. Like when you came up with that idea, they're like, Gilbert's all over the place. Probably he just has all these ideas.
Well,
like there's no way he's ever going to execute on them.
If you want to talk about the odds of success, I mean, being born in a different country and then coming here and starting at zero. I mean, on top of whatever else.
Yeah,
it's hard work.
100%.
Taking advantage of opportunities. That's what he's done.
But there's also a way that I think brains operate that I don't know how the brain operates the other way, but it is I do understand how other people think. My head only sees opportunity. It's weird how it works. Like when I see things, I just see all these things I can do every single day to move myself forward and just get better. And like there's opportunity everywhere. But people put these blinders on in life that they don't see opportunity. And it's like all they see are the negative. They see all these things that are pressing them down. And I think it is a point to meet a lot of people that come from overseas that come here, and their lens that they're looking through is the land of opportunity.
Can't fail. It's
They-
not an option.
That they look at it as everything that we have going on is opportunity to win.
Because the thing is, what we came from, America can be worse than what we came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the other thing is, if people don't talk about you, that means you're doing something wrong. All right? The haters comes with a success. We were underdog in the beginning. Now we're becoming villain because the way we expand. Overrated. You know what I mean? It's just a rice on a tortilla. But we don't listen to that because the thing is, what really important is worry about what you're doing.
Because the
not
people
what
that
other people do.
the people that are saying that, they are not a factor in your equation. They're somebody that
We're
they're
not
going
for everybody.
exactly, and that's the thing is like when Patrick Mahomes comes in, whole country's rooting for the guy. You look at the whole country was Chiefs fans through and through.
Not anymore.
Now all of a
Yeah,
sudden he
a little
does it a
different.
couple of times.
Yeah.
Now he's
He's
built.
a flopper.
Yeah. Now all of a
Yeah.
sudden he's a Tom Brady 2.0.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember.
Nothing changed.
Yeah.
He did nothing different.
He kept winning.
He just kept winning.
But it's the same thing as like when Tom Brady kept winning. When he played us, I remember like when I was younger, I was like, I hated Tom Brady. Why? Because when you play Tom Brady and there's 2 minutes left and you got the ball,
He's
you're
gonna
like,
win.
son of a bitch, they're going to win.
There's
Like,
that.
you just did not want to give him the ball back with 2 minutes left if you were down or if you were up over less than 7.
Yeah, he's gonna win.
Yeah. But same thing with Patrick Mahomes now. Same thing's happening. Like, we're watching a game out here. We're down by 3 points or whatever. We get the ball back. We're like, we're winning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it in the
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
Like, and those other teams now are looking as they hate them. But hate comes with anyone that's successful. You look at it and people running for president. 50% of people love them. 50% of people hate them. You look at people that play pro athletes. But I would say 50-50. It starts getting to be more. It's just divided up more. But you look at Patrick Mahomes. 90% of people in the country hate him now.
Yeah.
And that dude is a staple of just being a good human being.
Good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just does everything right. And
Yeah.
there's still people like, fuck that dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
Like,
100%.
wild.
success comes with the hate, man.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, we become big. It comes with a baggage.
Yeah, but I think you got to think about who do we understand and who understands us? Because that's the language we're trying to talk.
Yeah.
The people who are, not everyone talks the same language as we do, and that's fine.
No.
Yeah.
But
We're
I
not
think-
for everybody.
I
That's
think
what I'm saying.
understanding who that market is, that it's something that I've really struggled with for the early years of business. And I thought for a long time I had to cater to everybody. Even though I
Right.
preached
No,
to
thought that too.
our clientele, I'm like, you don't have to be for everybody.
Yeah.
I was too nervous or fearful myself of really pushing that line of who we wanted to be. That I had this like person inside me, like I've always been like the way my dad raised us, like winners fucking win, losers fucking lose, like, and that like mentality, like I couldn't push out to the world. Like when I did, all of a sudden I felt like, okay, I'm going to turn these people off. They're not going to like how that
Sure.
mentality is, and they're not going to.
Aggro, be too
Yeah.
intimidating, and it's like.
And then it was
yeah.
like the flashy like winner. I've had people that are like, you're way too flashy. And I'm like, well, you'd never be my client anyway, so it's fine.
Sure.
But it was like I lived in the car world for a long time. That I was making the money. I had the house, and
That's what you do. That's who you are.
but it was
So be who you are.
exact. But the car world, I had to hide it. Car world, like people would be like, where do you live? I was like, Liberty. And they're like, where at in Liberty? I was like, by Target. And they're like, where at? I'm like, why are you so
Yeah, what are we getting at?
why are you so invested in where I live? But then I'd be like, like right down the street. And they're like, oh, those apartments right there? I'm like, yep. Like, I bought this house at 21 years old. To where at that point, if you're making that money, I'm working 100 hours a week. I'm doing wholesale. I'm helping with service. I'm detailing cars from 8 to midnight, Monday through Thursday. Like, you can't, I always thought I had to justify myself to everybody of like how I was making that much money.
Sure.
But it was like, as I progressed and I got into the marketing world, I've gotten high level investors around me, and they're like, you need to be more flashy. You need to be like the winner of the marketing world because no one's taking that space around here. But it's also a spot that like our product and our service is winning in the space with the clients that we have. That it is I'm very upfront with people, like we are a for-profit company. Like I am not trying to like, I don't think profit is a bad word. I think it's something that's been pushed down and pushed down and pushed down over time. But it's like we have a ton of clients and like we're scaling really quick towards work with the winners, and we have winners coming our way. That we have more clients coming our way than ever before. But it's because they're seeing what we're putting out to the world. That Instagram is a highlight reel. I'm very upfront about that.
In our company collectively, I can tell you, we like actively practice this idea of be who you are, because it's going to be really easy for you to be who you are.
100%.
Right. And like, and not only that, like if you work out and you're with us and we're on the same page and all that, then like we're going to take who you are and let you run with that because it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talk about like, take all the things you're not great at and get them up to like some acceptable level. But don't try to operate on that. Don't try to be that person because it's not going to be successful.
Yeah.
So like if flashy is right for MMG and that's who you guys are, then like go all the way with that because it's going to feel good and it's going to be easy.
Which my thing is like, I'm somebody that's never been attached to like material things. I look at them as their tools. Like, if somebody took my cars or whatever tomorrow, like I don't really care. Like, they don't hold the. I see in a world that we live in today that it's buying tools in the game, and you can use the tools. And like, if you have them, it can put you in other rooms. Like, I mean, if you go buy a new Ferrari, you can be in the Ferrari club in Kansas City. And you could be with 60 other guys here that own Ferraris, and if they're going to own Ferraris, they're going to be guys that those are guys that can afford our services.
Yep.
Like, it's a tool. Like, that's the way I look at it. It's not. Do I have some like dire need that like if I buy a Ferrari, also I'm going to be happy?
Sure.
Like I don't look at it the same way. Like I look at it as business movement, networking, being in the right places, right time. Like we're very heavily involved in multiple different nonprofits. Like we do all Big Brothers Big Sisters marketing for Kansas City. We do all Folds of Honor. I'm the vice president of PAL. Like we do all these different things. As we hit another benchmark, we take on another nonprofit.
Right. And all of these fit perfectly into your guys' collective personality.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
It is. Like
it feels good.
I don't feel like work has been some really hard like business to formulate what it looks like. Yeah. I just get from. I understand that material things can be tools, and I understand like posting them online. We have 30 to 40 people a month reach out that want to work for us. It's because we put the flashy things online and they look at like,
sure, yeah.
And it's like, I want that 21, 22, 23-year-old guy that's hungry to go out and make it in life, that has a really high motivation level. Like if I can capture that guy because I bought a $130,000, $140,000 car and posted online, and down the road I bought a $300,000 or $400,000 car, like that's what generates those employees through the walls. Great. Yeah. Like the employees inside still need to see the movement. Like to me, they don't mean a lot. Like it's the full construction of the whole thing.
Sure. We've got this thing that we talk about pretty often, which is like, so if we're at this point in our lives, which he's in his 50s, I'm in my 30s, like if you're in your teens or 20s and you want to be where we're at, and you're motivated to do it, and you're going to put in the work, like say that, and we're going to do everything that we can in the context of what we're doing to get you to whatever that next step is. Like,
yep.
I want that. I want that guy to graduate from us and go have the beautiful car and beautiful house and successful job.
My thing is, I sit there and what I've really worked on in our company is giving people the roadmap that I tell people as MMG scales, if you don't increase your skill set and you don't increase the level of where you're at in life, you don't get to increase your pay. Plain and simple. You increase your skill set, you put in additional practice outside the walls, I have no problem giving you more money. You become more valuable in the movement.
Well, and if you can't at the moment, then hopefully you've given them enough to find that elsewhere if necessary. But to allow them to keep.
So every person in MMG has no ceiling on where they can go. The roadmap is as far as they want to go, and I give them the roadmap. I will sit down and I'll map out what you need to do to get to the next levels and how you can increase from a financial state. Tell me what you want to earn, if it's a financial world, if it's a time space that we're about to go to flex hours, like we're gonna flex in the morning, flex at night. So if you want to come in an hour earlier and leave an hour earlier, like fine. Like, or if you want to come in an hour late and leave an hour late, like you can flex it. I want to go to a performance-based company. That performance is what people pay for. It's the same reason we don't sell hours. There's a lot of marketing agencies that all sell hours. So if we start with you guys, those first few months, we put in way more hours than we do now because we're figuring out how that company runs. We're going through approval cycles. We're going through so much more. So we're going to sell all these hours up front. And then as we become more efficient and more effective at our job, we get paid less. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, that's one thing I always try to preach to Jeremy is like, make yourself fireable.
Yeah.
Make yourself really important. You know, most of our managers, they don't see their job as really valuable sometimes, but when they go to another company, they learn the management, how to deal with people's personalities and how to manage books or like profit and loss. And they up their stock with the other company they're moving into. It's like, hey, you're knowledgeable with all this stuff. All right, we'll make you a manager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to tell them, that this job is not just making sandwich. It's how you learn to manage.
And you know what I love? So every now and then there's people in the company who are like, hey, can I call you every week and talk about whatever? I'm like, absolutely, 100%. Okay, this week I want to talk about, like Paul, we want to talk about stoicism. Cool, let's both read a book on stoicism. And then, let's talk about like situational leadership, or let's talk about whatever it is. And there's people that, will call me weekly or monthly and go, hey, I want to learn about this, or talk about this. I'm like, I love it. Let's talk for an hour on this. And I hope they get something out of it. I think they get something out of it. But I'm looking at it going, everything that I know from when I started learning stuff to now, I want to hand to you.
Yeah.
I want you to take it all.
And that's where I find a very high like passion level is once again in that development of your people.
It's the relationships you hold.
It is, and
when
it's
you're
like
on your deathbed, you won't think about the checks cash.
like
You'll think about the relationships.
I tell people like the value of time. Like the day Steve Jobs laid on that bed, he would have given every dollar he had for another year.
Yeah, for sure.
To where there's no amount of money that's going to fix anything or give you like. There does come to a point where money, you are not trading time for money anymore. Then that is when you can have the items.
Yeah.
So I always waited till like I knew that when I wasn't trading hours for money, that then I could buy the stuff. But I then looked at it as like, okay, now I've entered into a different game board. I'm going to buy these things to then position myself in the right room. So it's like, I don't want to have to go in the room and explain that I'm the doer in this space. That's like, when I'm rolling up to these, I'm in corporate club in Kansas City. I'm in these like private men CEO clubs, like all these different things I'm rolling up into. Like, I need to represent myself correctly. That I'm stepping into a room that I'm 20 years younger than everyone else. I need to look the part. Before I say a word, like as much as my dad's
there's
always
an element of that.
My dad's always told me, he's like, don't judge a book by its cover. And they're like, this guy is worth billions of dollars and he wears sweatpants to work every day. I'm like, he sold software that it was going to sell regardless if he wore a suit to work every day or his sweatpants.
Yep.
Like, my thing too is like, we live in a different industry.
Excuse me, Dan, I'm gonna go.
You're good. We live in a different industry that is going to yield something that, when I get in those rooms, people are going to judge me right out the gate. My haircut is when I walk in, to the watch I'm wearing, to the clothes I'm wearing, to the car I roll it up in. That's like, I had those same marketing people pull up to our dealership. I didn't want to judge a book by the cover, but I did every time.
Sure.
Marketing people would pull up and some ragged out car in the new suit that they just got at Men's Warehouse. They came in and they're telling me that they got the best found marketing on the planet. I'm like, you just started here a month ago. Like, you haven't even sold a deal yet. Like, you sound desperate as they come.
Right.
Like, I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it when they walked up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I think it's just a full package deal, but it's what does that look like as a business that like my job internally now is how do I bring more people up to that level?
I
For sure.
Everything you do, everything you said is completely legit. And it's like, how do you do that in a way that is true to you and true to who you are? And then people look at you and go, that's who he is. Like, love him or hate him.
Yeah.
You know, and the people who love you, you're going to get. And the people who hate you,
Which
maybe you'll get them eventually.
Which my thing is like everybody that knows me knows that you're going to get the truth no matter what it is, good,
Yeah.
bad, and different. Like
Yeah.
I don't mind offending people. I really don't. You're going to get the truth. Like, but my thing too is I've had people sit there and try to say I do things in the wrong way. I'm like, when was the last time you've done anything for another person?
Yeah.
I sit there and I'm like, I donate my time. Pretty much Wednesdays are like almost a nonprofit day for me now.
Yeah.
Like with what we do for Big Brothers Big Sisters, like all these different organizations, PAL, Folds, like I look at those things as the bigger purpose that I have. We have now built a company that I am fortunate enough to
That's a
have
blessing,
the time.
right?
It is.
You can spend your Wednesdays doing this.
But it's going to do those kind of things means so much to me. But it's same thing when I was in the car world. If you're a car dealer, you're the scum of the earth, you're the lowest level. And through college, I was the head coach of the Special Olympics when I was in Maryville. Like, never had any, I wasn't a special ed major, nothing.
Special Olympics is a lot of fun, by the way.
Most positive
I've
human
coached
beings.
Special Olympics as well.
Most positive human beings you'll ever find in your life.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I've got stories from that like will not be replicated in my life.
I literally did that in college, and it was something that I ended up taking the head coaching position for Nottoway County
Which sport?
at bowling. It was
Wonderful. I did
awesome.
basketball.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was like we went to state together down at Fort Leavenworth, and like I signed up for something that I was not set up to do. But
So, when I was coaching basketball for Special Olympics, I had one kid who was like our best player. He was super unfocused, and so he would steal the ball, dribble all the way down the court, and like easy layup, but he wouldn't lay it up. He'd keep dribbling out of bounds all the way out of the gym to the drinking fountain and get a drink of water. Come back with the ball, and of course it's the other team's ball now.
yeah,
Like that was the thing. And another girl named Claire True, like in the middle of a game, like, you know, the teams were going back and forth, and she's just like standing at half court, just kind of watching the whole thing. In the middle of that, she starts singing like the national anthem, and the players are the first ones to stop, and they're like,
They sing too.
"We're gonna
Yeah.
sing too."
yeah.
And then the coaches stand up and put their hand over their heart, and then the parents are like, "This is what we're doing." So everybody up in the middle of the
Yeah.
game was, you know, it's just that's what she
Absolutely,
decided
right.
what was going to happen, and that's what we all did. I mean, there's like 15 more stories.
It was so I'd met Madison sophomore year. I'd been the head coach for a little bit, and my sophomore year they qualified for state in bowling.
Nice.
So when I first got in college, I told my dad I was involved in this. I was like, "Hey, could the dealership donate money into this every month?" He's like, "Yeah, 100%." He goes, "If you're doing good for the world," he goes, "I have no problem helping." My dad owned the dealership, and so we're donating money into it. But it had to go through the Special Olympics of St. Joe. We're up in Maryville, so Nottoway County. They qualify. I called the lady out of St. Joe, and I was like, "Hey, what do we need to get done?" So going to state. Like, well, there's not the funds for your guys' team to go. So I'm like,
Go find them.
I have 15 athletes in Nottoway County that I know I've donated enough money. My family has donated enough money for all of them to go. So I was like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, St. Joe comes first. You guys are like a second entity of that, so you guys don't have the funds."
Like, okay, we're going to change that.
I go, "Okay." So I called my dad. I was like, "All right, instead of donating over the next year, I was like, stop payments on that." I go, "Will you fund me to do this whole thing?" So the sophomore, I'm like, setting this whole, I thought I was qualified to do this. Definitely wasn't. So I have to find a bus. I have to get everything set up at Fort Leavenworth, like the whole thing. And then, so I have 15 athletes, and then they're like, "Well, you have to have a female come." I just started dating Madison. I was like, "You want to, she knew I did this every week. She had no idea what my involvement level was. But I didn't really
She
tell.
found out quickly what it was.
I never really told anybody in college like what it was. I just like always went. It was Tuesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Friday, and I just it was my thing. And I was like, So I haven't really told you I'm the head coach of the Special Olympics, and they're going to state for bowling.
Coaching bowling.
Yeah, which
I mean, how do you call plays on that?
I'm not even gonna say there was no coaching involved. You're just there, okay? I'm not gonna say
we're gonna run the strike play this time.
There was no coaching level to it, so I make that very clear. But so I told my wife, I was like, well, I got a trip planned for us. I was like, we're gonna go to Fort Leavenworth for Special Olympics bowling state. She's like, okay. I was like, we're going to be on a bus. And we're going to be in charge of everybody that comes.
I know the scene.
And she's like, okay. And it was, so I had to get this bus company. They bring the bus, the driver, everything. I'm paying for all of it. And they show up at Walmart in Maryville, and all these people start showing up. But a lot of these are grown-ups with disabilities. Drop these kids off. These kids are getting out because they have their bags like packed like 6 months before this. They're ready to go. They're getting off like so ready to go, and they're like handing me bags of medicine, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, so and Madison's like looking at me. She's like, are you ready?
You know what to do with that?
She's like, you know what you're doing? I was like,
I gotta
no,
call somebody.
I don't. I was like, so we end up rolling out, Mass and I, with 15 adults with special needs to Leavenworth, and we're stopping at gas stations, and we're in there trying to rally everyone up.
Man, yeah.
It was,
That's the scene.
once we got there was a lot more help.
Sure, but in
it was,
between, there was just you and her.
Yeah, and we get back, and it was funny. Madison will still say, she was like, that there, she's like, I knew that you were the person that, she's like, she goes, you just wanted to help them on something else.
Sure.
And she's like,
My
even
wife-
though you had no qualification to do so.
My wife volunteered as well.
Yeah.
She volunteered in like a summer work camp type thing, clean up like Smithville Lake and things like that. They drive a van up with like 10 kids in it, and she's told me, she's like, everyone used to put their sack lunches into a cooler in the front with their drinks and everything. And she goes, one day I opened it up and there's a beer in there. Somebody brought a beer. And, Miriam opens it up and goes, who brought a beer? And there's a girl named Sue. It's like that, like barrels across like 3 rows, grabs the beer, grabs it like this. She goes, not me. I mean, it was like every day was like that. Like, oh, there's Sue's beer,
But I also think those are the larger purposes in life as a whole.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like,
and a ton of fun too.
my thing that I always enjoyed about that was I hung out with a group of people that had almost none of the opportunities that I have. And you looked at all these college kids that were so bent out of shape and so negative about the world and everything's going wrong. And I would show up to bowling practice with, the whole entire bowling alley was completely full. I'm like, you couldn't find a person in there with a bad attitude.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, life is all about just the lens that you look at it with. And I was like, and you see these people, and it's like, I enjoyed going and hanging out there more than almost anything else at college.
Sure. Ton of fun.
There's no judgments. There's
No.
no social awkwardness. There's no expectations.
I mean, you'll leave with like tears in your eyes, like nightly.
They don't know a stranger, nothing. I'm just like, I'm like almost jealous of how they live life.
Sure. Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
It is. So it's just like doing those things. And like, once we got involved with Folds, like what we've done for Big Brothers Big Sisters, like PAL, I didn't even know what PAL was, like Police Athletic League, and ended up down there and figuring out like food side. Like I didn't know we had such a food problem in 10 minutes from our office.
Yeah.
That it's like, I've been working a lot with CNC Produce and different places on like helping with food down there. And then it was like you've had such a high level involvement. Would you be interested in the vice president position? I was like, yeah. I was like, but I feel like those are the things that make a bigger difference. Yeah. That, okay, we can start with the company. If we look at your guys' sheets over next year and you're like, oh, we increased 5%. Like, what does that really like? It's like, you get to a spot that you have enough locations, like, great, Gilbert can buy another house, like, or whatever it is. Like, it gets to a spot that you're in a relevant state. Like I'm at a state, I don't need anything. when I say that I
By
buy
the way, needs our needs are pretty basic. If you think about it.
water, food,
Yeah.
shelter, like when you think about it, I'm like, when we talk about people being at the bottom or like what the worst case scenario is, any way I map out my life, there's never a scenario that I think I'm going to struggle with
As long
food,
as you have
water,
your health,
shelter.
you know,
Yeah.
As long as you're healthy enough to keep moving, that's really all you need.
Which the health thing is like, I'm always very thankful for that. It's also not something that I fear if it's ever my time, or I always think if it's ever my time to go, I don't fear it.
No, you shouldn't.
It's like,
Yeah.
You know,
Here's a virus.
what is that?
It'll affect you fast.
Look poor and stay rich. It's just one of those things. I mean, a lot of times that we don't do a lot of the charity, but the thing is, we're just trying to put it on our employees.
Well, I mean, we put a lot of effort into Operation Breakthrough.
Yeah.
Every August.
Oh yeah,
And
that's your project. I'm sorry.
so we do that.
Yeah,
And but
I'm gonna set
kind
up
of like
like Fuji's in Vietnam.
kind of like the Special Olympics thing. It's like when we go down and do that, when we spend time with Operation Breakthrough, like we really enjoy it. We get a ton out of it. We spend time with the kids, and I mean all the people that donate their time, and it's just it's I don't know, it feels good, and I don't just mean that in like a give back to others and it feels good. I mean it genuinely like. I
which
prefer to do that kind of thing.
there are
blessed.
people I think that do it for a lot of the wrong reasons. A lot of times,
For sure.
there's
Check
a lot
the
of
box.
there's a lot of people that want to check the box and would post everywhere about it.
Yeah.
And it's like that's been probably one of my hardest things to wrap my head around, is because I've never been somebody to talk about any of it. So we've always done it behind the scenes, but we've never spoke about it. But it's like we then have these organizations that are asking us to post about it. I'm like, oh, that's not like really my thing. That's not why I do it. And they're like, well, you guys have a really big reach.
Right. So it's helpful.
Yeah. So then I'm like, I feel like I'm in a rock and a hard place. Like, I don't want people in that. But then it's also, once again, like have to sit in the spot. Like, I don't give a shit what people think. If I post about this and it reaches a bunch of people, and then it helps bring in more people for these organizations, like
we've gotten to it.
Any good
We
comes
didn't-
from it, it's worth it.
We didn't say much about it for a while, and eventually we're like, well, it's good for people to know.
Yeah.
For people to participate.
it creates more involvement in it, and it creates more awareness, and they're looking for the press on it. And if they have a bigger business that's around them that can post that out there, it helps them a lot. And it was just always something that I always feared the person I looked at. I was like, oh, they're just wanting to post about that because they're doing something good. And it's
about cloud now. As you can see. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a lot of times they think that having a cloud just justify a lot of things that they do. But
Yeah.
it doesn't have a longevity. People will forget it like 2 days later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they get distracted by something else.
Yeah. But marketing wise, what do you think where it's going? I mean, from digital to, you know what I mean? Because back in the days, it was just all newspaper, TV, radio.
So I look at the marketing world, it's shifting very much. And the biggest thing that's shifting in the marketing space right now is, I think for a really long time, we lived in a space that marketing was always taking attention. We lived in a world that radio, if you listen to radio and a commercial came on, you didn't have the opportunity to skip it. And you're like, you weren't driving down the road and a radio commercial comes on, you're like, damn, this is about what I've been waiting for. Turn it up.
Sure.
Like, TV commercials came on, that's when you went to go get something out of the kitchen. Like, that's when everyone gets up from the couch. Like, it was something that always took people's attention. Yeah. I think Super Bowl commercials were probably the only thing that people like very heavily watched. But we're coming into a day and age of marketing now that people can pay for Spotify Premium. They can pay for Pandora Premium. They can listen to any music they want online, and they don't have to listen to commercials. Where you look at Sirius XM is going down. Like, you look at all these different.
Same. Netflix without commercials.
But it's like,
Without commercials.
so you look at it as like they're giving you an option on everything to buy out of commercials, because they know people don't want to see that. And they don't want somebody taking their attention. Or when you live in the social forefront of the world, the social platforms want to keep you on their platform. So they're not going to actively put ads in front of you that you can't skip. So now you actively have to willingly get someone to give you their attention. So it's a whole new space to navigate. I don't think a lot of people understand. And a lot of businesses go in with these, I'm going to say like nationwide firms that put up graphics. And I tell people, look at your social platform and would you follow that company? Keep it that basic.
Before we brought you guys on, so Jamie, who's our marketing guy who works with you guys, and he was pretty pretty convinced that like we should only be producing entertainment. And I get the value in that, but like, you know, as a business owner, it's like, so to everything you said, it's got to be entertaining because otherwise they're skipping right over it. They're going on to the next
So I look at
whatever.
infotainment.
Right. So then my part of it was like, we got to put something in there that says like what we're trying to tell them.
Yeah.
You can't just be funny all the time. Like we got to,
So
is there something we're trying to sell?
So
It's like
the
they
funny
wanna go
thing-
play with the viral videos that it doesn't really
Which isn't
relate
easy.
to their business, but
Yeah.
the video kind of like got clicks because you know what
Yeah,
I mean.
well, but it's kind of like Hudson and I was saying earlier. So Hudson my oldest got a viral video, 1.2 million views.
Yeah.
But nobody knows it was him.
Exactly.
So, you know, not that as a
But it's-
student that he gets any value from that, but
Also,
but as a business, what's your value? If you get 1.2 million views and nobody knows what you're trying to tell them, what difference does it make?
what's the monetization value of that? Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I look at is also when you're putting content out there organically and ad side, you have different levels of what you're doing. So you have that real top funnel side to where I look as if I ran into somebody on the street. We run into each other on the street. I'm like, Gilbert, pay this much for marketing every month. And you'll be like, whoa, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you have to build rapport online the same way you build rapport in a sale. So if you want to get somebody in, like, okay, step one is put some entertaining stuff out there. Get something that's going to get their attention. Get them into your funnel. Get them watching your stuff. Great thing is all the social platforms prioritize video. So you get some video in front of them. They give you some time. The reason we like video so much also is you can retarget video viewers. So now someone's watched something and you start retargeting with ads. You can have some more content in there that is entertainment, maybe some education stuff. And once you've kept them in there long enough, you can then ask for the sale.
Yeah.
My thing is if we ran into each other, I told you about Moss Marketing Group, I did some entertainment stuff, you could learn a few of the guys. Now all of a sudden I asked for a sale, you're like, oh yeah, I like this guy.
I like that guy.
No, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, you can do the same thing online. But people don't realize that can all be done in the ecosystem that you build on social.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's always, marketing has always been a direct ask out the gate. That if I worked at a car dealership and I ran out the second you pull on a lot, you want to buy this F-150 and I throw out a price tag, you'd be like, what is this guy doing? But that's what their marketing looks like.
Well, it takes like now even like well-produced short videos are like backed by $100,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't understand that. They think that they can just send a video and then put it on Facebook.
Everyone's
That's
going to
it.
be the cranberry juice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can do that. Why would I pay him? No, there's art to it.
All pay to
There's
play.
work and effort that puts in a good video.
And that's when you get into video and you get into all that, we're talking inside, like there's a lot that plays into emotion. There's a lot that plays into all these different pieces of what the business is. And when you can formulate that all into one equation that somebody online can see, that's when you win. We have a lot of companies come our way that overall brand awareness and brand recognition will always win the space, because the larger you build your brand, the more people are going to know about you and the more people that are going to come use your product or service.
I think it also goes back to the conversation we had earlier about being genuine and being yourself. Is that if you make that video and if you make that content that shows you and you're being yourself, and you're going to find the people who like you,
Yeah.
and the people who don't, who cares, whatever. But if you can show yourself in such a way that's like this is just us, you know, we're for better or for worse, this is us.
Yeah.
Because if you try to make like the cool viral content that isn't you, like it's not going to work because it's not genuine.
You can't sustain it either. Like,
Yeah, you can't sustain it.
So that's my thing is like, I look at it when I do video, why I like podcasts and everything. this is me. I sit here, I drink bourbon. A lot of times I smoke cigars. Like, whatever it is, you're going to get real authentic me. I'm going to cuss. I've ran into people like older generation. I've had some lady, she's like, well, your podcast is kind of tacky where you guys drink and smoke. I was like, how's your podcast do? And she's like, I don't have one. I was like, sounds like you're sitting in the bleachers balking at the guy in the arena.
It's always like that.
It is. And it's like, they always got something to say. And I'm like,
but that's who you are. Do that.
exactly.
Show people that.
I think we have so much of like the blue collar world that comes our way. They're like, we want to work with you guys because you're just normal dudes. Like, you're normal people. Like, and
Approachable.
Exactly. Like, my thing is, we could sit here and we could talk for 4 hours tonight, no problem. Like, that's the kind of people I want to work with. If I had some client that we put here and I'm like, I'm going to say one thing, I'm going to offend them, and they're all going to be all bent out of shape. Like, why do I want that person as a client? Like, I got to tiptoe around them. I got to watch what I say when I put my story up in the morning when I drive into the office.
You don't have to do that anymore.
No, like, I put up and I'm like, somebody just want to work with us? Great.
Yeah.
So
Same thing as having a partner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you got to pick. You pick him because you can inject more money in your business, or you get along with him and you know you're gonna do good.
Yeah.
But I didn't look at him as just money person that can inject. I saw him as a partner, 100%. You know, like, hey, this guy's gonna take me a little farther. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The beauty of like between the two of us is like we intersect a little bit, but we don't intersect much. So everything that he's good at, I am not good at all.
We don't try to step on each
Yeah,
other's
yeah.
toe. That's the secret of our partnership. The
Yeah.
success of it.
And that was evident.
We know
really
our
early.
line.
Yeah, yeah,
Which-
it was really evident early.
When you watch a lot of, we've had personality consultants come through our, like, brought them into our office and really went through a lot of different aspects of how to scale. And when I'm talking with them, they're like, you need to search for people that live on the opposite side of what you do. Like, and when you search for those people, it's funny because a lot of times you think that's somebody you're not going to get along with. You actually end up getting along with them really well. Like,
Interesting
You know what's
conversation.
funny is like-
Telling
is
you
like-
stuff you don't know or think
Exactly.
about, you know?
It was for us, you know, I mean, our skills are very opposite,
Yeah.
but I think our vision and our approach has always been completely like in sync with
It's
each
yin
other of where
and
we want to
yang.
be.
You know?
But one
The
coin,
imbalance
two
is-
sides of one coin.
it's crazy though when you see that, because I had people in the organizations that, or in our organization that I butt heads with a lot. And it wasn't because we had a different vision. It's because we didn't understand how one another thought. And once we started taking these personality tests, I'm like, okay, now I understand why we're not getting along and why we're ending up where we are.
Yeah.
But it was cool to see that progression, that it was the vision and the goal is the same. How we think to get there looks different.
And if you find a Jeremy, you can find someone who can translate the two languages and make it so you do communicate well with each other.
I'm in the squiggly line.
Here's the line.
It's on the line.
Yeah, the connection,
Yeah.
the wire.
But
When they have some fucked up shit to say to each other, but you know it might kill.
But
the
if we actually
partnership.
said it to each other, it would like
they'll just
go
beat
nuclear.
me down as a
Yeah.
whipping post.
But, okay, I'm going to say what I want to say.
yeah,
Can
I'm
you
gonna say what I want to say to
translate? Yeah.
you, but you have to say it in a nice way to him.
You said corporate in a very nice way. So,
Yeah.
So what is your guys' vision for the next 5 years?
Next
Be
5
happy.
years is hopefully we can put together our franchise plan and maybe try our luck and that kind of side, because we've been expanding on our own, self-funded and everything, through us. Maybe in the future we can get somebody to fund the expansion.
Maybe like Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos
Yeah.
buys the whole company, gives
Yeah.
every employee
Yeah, obviously
like
that's the
$1 million.
path to success.
Yeah. I think that's something that you guys are very much equipped to be doing soon. And I think it is cool too, though, because we have companies on that forefront, and just to be able to have involvement at that time too, to make connections, to say, sit down and talk with this guy, talk with this guy, like, because I've always looked at as I have Willy Wonka's golden ticket at business growth. It's because I work with high level CEOs all over KC, to where I have an idea and I'm like, okay, I know this guy's in this industry. He's probably done something similar. And I go sit down. I'm like, this is what I'm looking to do. It can be over bourbon or cigars, whatever, and I'll cover all of it. But I may go spend $800 drinking bourbon with somebody that's really high in bourbon, but I might end up getting an answer that's going to save me $1 million. That it's like, gives from experience to say, hey, not being like, I'm just assuming like this could happen. Like, no, this is dead set experience of I went through X, Y, and Z.
There's a lot of value in that for the people who have the answers.
Exactly. So I've really worked on positioning myself with a knowledge base of what I can give them in exchange. To be able to sit at those tables, I've always looked at how I bring value to other people. And it's like, I have probably 15, 20 people a week message me like, hey, you want to go get coffee so I can pick your brain? No, I don't. Like, you didn't pitch me on anything that you're going to help me with moving forward. And like, if I did that, I could literally set up coffees every hour on the hour all week long to go just talk through people's problems. And then I'd be a therapist.
Yeah, there's a lot of time thieves out there.
Like, how many people would love to sit down and pick Jeff Bezos' brain?
Sure.
You think you're going to go just get coffee with him if you send him a DM on Instagram?
Well, it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, it's very profitable.
Yeah.
It is kind of bittersweet, and by that I mean, when we did have 1 or 2 stores, I did feel like we had way more time to, linger around and talk to everybody and do that. And I did enjoy that, and those are parts of my job that today I have to try to like almost schedule like that time in to like just be with the people and see how they're going.
You have to respect your own time. And I think that was something for a long time. I never respected my own time. I just gave it away like it was free. And I'm like, so then all of a sudden, if I'm looking at, we will value money that if somebody comes up and they're like, hey, can you give me $5,000? You don't know this person from Adam. You're like, no. And then all of a sudden you start factoring out what your time actually looks like.
Yep.
And then, so you'll give them 2 or 3 hours of your time, no problem, but you won't give them the money. Which realistically, your time is more valuable than that money.
Sure.
That if you were bothering Jeff Bezos, he would pay somebody $5,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 just not to meet with you.
Maybe. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like the wild
I'll
thing
do
is,
that.
but his time.
Pay $10,000 not to show up my house.
But it's like, I know people that are in coaching groups with crazy high level individuals.
Sorry,
that,
Mom.
Shit.
So,
I know.
Mom, can I pay you $10,000 not to show up?
He's just here so he doesn't get fined.
This is pretty.
You always
Yeah.
cause drama, Mom.
pretty deep into the podcast. She's not gonna watch it.
But then again, the
But-
question of like, we're trying to be like, John came up to me and said, these people are moving like what is that? Like a warp speed. Yeah. Why can't we? Because we offered more products than them. We got more flavor than them. So that's we question ourselves like, hey, we can do more. You know what I mean?
But
There's such a thing as like confidence as a group. And you guys are a confident company. And I feel like we're a confident company. But 20 years for us to become a confident company. And at some point you look around and you go, man, there's all these people who are not as good as us doing these things. And sometimes they're the bad things I talk about, moving too fast or getting themselves deep in a hole that they shouldn't. But you take little pieces of that and you go like, I know we can do that.
which I think why we've ended up being such a confident company is because we have access to the people that we have access to. That I look at guys I can sit at a table with that I could text tomorrow to come over and have a drink, that no other person is getting that meeting.
Sure.
Off of just a text message. Yeah. Like not at the people that they're taking meetings with are at a crazy high level towards making it to where we can move at a lot quicker pace, because I don't know everything. I never will. There's going to be somebody that's above, that's done it better, that I need to learn from those people. I need those people's feedback. And that's when I sold equity in my company. Most people thought it was for like a money leverage position. I actually just wanted that group of people to sit there. That now I'm like, now you have vested interest in this, where it's like it opened up the door to me having unlimited
Their time, yeah.
time with these people. That there was, even though they gave me money into the company, it was the reward that I got from it was something way different.
Sure.
I think as a group of people, I think that's something that we just started practicing pretty recently. Within the past couple, we've really kind of been very independent and very introverted in a lot of ways, and that's been good because that's allowed us to be who we are today. But the value in making the connection and knowing those people, I think that's something we've been more active at in the past couple of years.
I mean, we're sitting here.
Yeah, we're sitting here, right?
Yeah.
We weren't a year ago.
Yeah, but I think there's value in just being around the right people, learning the right things, and
100%.
it's. If I stayed in my bubble in the house the whole entire time, I could just done the car world, and I'd probably still just be doing the same thing. I mean, it was something that I liked getting outside the car world because it was opening up a new world to me.
Yeah.
It was opening up new network connections. I was getting to sit in front of new people, and I was getting like, I sold for the first like 2.5 years, and I didn't sell a lot because I sat down with people and I just tried to build value for them.
Yeah. Right.
It was wild. I'd sit with people and I would like go over all these different things I think they should be doing. I would like build out their marketing strategy, and then they would go try to hit it on their own.
Yeah.
And it's wild over the first 2.5 years, the amount of work that dumps in our bucket now, 2 years later. They're like, we sat down with you and you thought of our business differently, and you thought about how we should be doing X, Y, and Z, and you're thinking outside the box. You weren't. I hate being the same as everyone else.
Yeah,
Everyone goes left, I go right. I don't know where it is, but like
it's that idea that we talked about earlier. You're not growing, you're dying.
Yep.
You're not evolving, you're becoming obsolete. And, this idea to become a double, 2x or 2 times of what you are is actually harder than becoming 10 times of what you are.
Yeah.
Because to go 2x means you're squeezing juice out of the turnip or whatever. You're squeezing juice that's not there. Versus 10x, you're recreating yourself.
Yep.
Which in some ways is easy. You're becoming something new.
So
as long as you can picture what that is.
the crazy thing is in business now, I sit there and it's like there's days I have that are super busy, but then there's days like when I don't have a book schedule, I don't know what to do. Like I have a sales side out there that's making calls every day, setting up appointments, like taking appointments. Marketing side is just dialed in, onboarding new accounts, like setting everything up, like Dre's handling invoicing, like
That's going to be the day that you sit and start imagining what the future looks like.
which I've always imagined. Like I sit there and I've always imagined it, and it's like it seems so far away.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, everything starts like coming to reality now. There's days I'll call my wife, like she'll call and she's like, "What are you up to?" I was like, "Well, I don't have anything till 3, and it's 10 a.m." I was like, "You want to go get lunch here in a little bit?" Oh, like,
That's a great problem, man.
but it's because I trust all the people around me so much, and what I focus on is just developing those leaders more and more and more.
Yeah.
That they have to become better and better and better and better every week, and it's like I sit down with everybody every week of you have to put an actionable step in every week to move yourself forward by next Wednesday. I do it to myself daily. I do it to the sales team every day. Like we sit down in the morning, so I'm like, what was the actionable step that you put in place yesterday to capitalize on yesterday into today?
You're not growing, you're dying.
But it's most people just let a day slip by, then they let 2 days slip by, then they let
But
3,
never
4.
get, distracted to what's important.
Yeah.
For us, it's true when you taste a little success, you want to repeat it, right? A lot of people going to set up another business, which is going to suck up a lot of resources from the first business. And, Jeff Bezos from Amazon to rocket ship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They get bored. But the thing is, you put that energy to what the business you were trying to grow. I mean, that's what you need to
Which
do.
I think in today's world, we struggle with it a lot because the internet's full of all these serial entrepreneurs that have their hand in 50 different things.
Yeah.
And they're painting this picture that they're super successful. But you look at Tesla made Elon Musk rich. Amazon made Jeff Bezos rich. Disney World made Walt Disney rich.
Yeah,
like
right.
you
It
look
was
at
the thing.
it
One
was
thing.
Ford made Henry
Yeah.
Ford rich.
Yeah.
Like you look at all these people, they were ungodly good at one thing.
Yeah.
And it's like there gets to a spot that your company can scale so high that you're like, you know what, I don't need more than $100 million. And now I just want to go and have fun and test things out and do
Make a rocket
whatever. Like,
company.
great, whatever. Like Elon, that's where Elon's at. He's just doing whatever he feels that he wants to point his finger in with that direction.
Yeah.
Cool. Like you have enough money to do that now.
He does.
Like, but then the person that is running a company that you're yielding $200,000 a year, you're not a serial entrepreneur. You are in no way, shape, or form ready to be a serial entrepreneur. Like,
a lot of these people didn't really taste the struggle.
yeah,
I mean, Elon Musk was what programming PayPal.
Yeah, PayPal.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
Didn't his dad own like a mining?
yeah. He has an
mining
emerald
ring?
mine in
Mine or
South
something.
Africa,
I will say,
It's a good start in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty lucrative.
and mom is a model.
yeah, but it's just
Just a
Yeah.
small joke.
maybe that wasn't a great example. But it's like you just look at all these different things that like people became really good, and are you going to fail? Maybe somebody has changed direction, yeah. But it's I've also looked at it as like I don't want to cheat the people that are around me. That if I'm putting in 100% into MMG, granted, sometimes there's pieces of it that may be integrated with it, but I see it as a piece to elevate what MMG is.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't look at it as I'm going to do this. I'm going to leave at 3 o'clock every day because now I'm flipping houses on the side.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but it's
Which is to say, you're bored.
Exactly.
And you're done with what you're doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
Not a good look.
exactly. So it's like
Yeah.
my thing is all efforts like MMG. That's where we're going, and it's like how do we create more entities inside of MMG to give more opportunities to the people inside of our walls to keep elevating the whole entire ship. Instead of me going and being like, you know what, this ship's moving. I'm gonna go build another one.
Yeah, it's just
Like-
putting new parts in the same race car. Just
Yeah.
better. It's gonna run faster. It's gonna run. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But instead of like building a new car, they're gonna
Yeah.
compete with the
Right. With the old
You
car.
know, with the old
Yeah.
car.
Like, well, he's not driving our car
You can't
anymore.
drive two cars at once.
That's true.
The reality is us three, we've built a pretty good, comfortable life for ourselves. None of us are mega millionaires or anything, but we don't struggle, right? And one of the biggest motivating factors for us is we've got a really good group of guys and gals, and we've been expanding over the last couple decades, mainly just to keep them, to retain them, and then keep projecting them forward so that they can kind of carve out their own space in their world too. So
Yeah,
That's been
right.
one of
God,
our
God
driving
willing,
factors.
all ships rise with the high tide. So the question is, how do you get high tide?
So
if we don't grow, we'll lose them, and we
I will
wanna
say
keep 'em.
that's where a lot of companies drop the ball is they want all these A players in their walls. And I tell people, business owners over and over and over, they're like, well, I'm good where I'm at. And I'm like, you just hit that spot. I go, those people that believe in where you were going, that vision that you once painted, I go, if you don't stay the course, you're going to lose them all.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
it would have been easy last year. We were in the black. We're making a bunch of money. Things were good. It'd been really easy for me to just say, hey, you know what? We're content. I had the processes in place. I wasn't really plugged into any of it. Dane rides off in the sunset. I will say these three guys wouldn't be there anymore.
Right.
I would lose all my A players that make the operation go round.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they signed up for.
Yeah.
It's my main job of MMG is to make sure no one ever sees the end of that runway.
Yeah, for sure. No, we talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like the wave never crashes.
No, yeah. If you let it crash, you didn't do your
No, the
job.
wave's got to keep going.
Yep.
In some form or fashion.
That's where, when we were in the river market, I started seeing the end of the runway. The reason I pulled the trigger on that other office so fast was mathematically, I'm like, we can't fit 3 more people in this office.
Yeah.
I could see like morale was like shifting. Like I could see that I have a lot of people that are hungry.
Yeah.
When people see that MMG's moving forward, it's because of the hunger level of the people that I have. But if you want to keep those people, you got to show them rapid growth. And it's like, all of a sudden they saw that was like, what's Dane's play here? Like, we don't,
Yeah.
I saw it like fast. And I was like,
there's opportunity here.
yeah.
I'm going to stick around and see what that opportunity is.
But then all of a sudden we pulled the trigger on the next spot, and it was like a revamp overnight in new office.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many people do you think we can fit in here?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, he ain't stopping.
Right, exactly.
Well, you set up the tempo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
you have to.
Yeah, set the tempo for sure.
But
The only downside is there are some weeks, days, months that you're just like, man, I just need a fucking break.
yeah,
And you take some of those when you can, but man, we haven't let off the gas for
A
a long time.
a long time. Like
I mean-
it shows though. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to say that. Like there's companies out there that don't have to say that,
Yeah.
and it shows.
Sure.
It comes back to like, are we enjoying what we're doing? Yeah.
Yeah, we
and,
do.
and I hope
Yeah.
everyone that works for us is enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah,
You know.
Sounds
a
cheesy,
win,
but
but
yeah,
it's-
you know, when you love what you're doing, you're not gonna work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's true.
I mean, there's no board. There's no one telling us what to do. I mean, this is it.
yeah.
You know.
I know. Someday I want to have that HR. You know what I mean?
I want to have that.
Like you
HR.
got to complain, don't call me. HR. You know?
That's my brother's job. So
Oh, he's got finance and HR.
yeah. So we're gonna alleviate finance
All
here first.
control and no control.
Yeah. So he but I tell everybody all the time, like, I'm not your fucking HR guy. Like, don't fucking come to me with anything HR related.
That's
You take
hard.
that to Dre, and I mean he can hear you out, but
I mean,
it's
that's a
just,
hot potato.
yeah,
It's hard.
I'm not jacking with HR.
hard.
They ask what's our office. They get 3 numbers.
Yeah, right,
You,
Yeah.
Jeremy and mine. Like,
But I think a lot of companies now hyper focus so much on HR that they they fuel people's mouths to come after them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and if you've got a hammer, you need a nail.
Yeah.
You're always looking for a nail.
Exactly. So it's like you gave them the hammer
Yeah,
to
the
use, and now it's like my thing is I tell them, like, we're not going over this stuff. I'm like, you can sit there and, like, it's in your handbook. If you want to read it on your own time, have at it. It's
Yeah.
not a point of conversation that I'm having at the highest level of the company. We are moving forward. This is what we're doing. You have a handbook. You all fucking signed it. It has your HR policies in there. Anything outside of that, talk to fucking Dre.
Yeah.
I'm not jacking with it.
Yeah.
But it's just
We'll
like
talk to Dre later about how those conversations
I
go.
tell everybody, I go, if you have something that's like wildly like inappropriate in the office place, bring it
that's
up.
Different, yeah.
Completely different. I'm like, but the thing is, like, oh, fucking Steve eyeballed me weird today at work.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, it has gotten so, like, they just fuel people for it. That's why I
the
put,
worst
we're not
now.
corporate real big on.
Yeah.
80s and 90s HR was like sexual harassment every minute. You know?
Yeah.
Now you got huge billboards with shit all over them. But
I was telling him about that movie. Have you ever watched that movie called Crazy People by Dudley Moore? That he's an
Man, these guys were
advertising.
born in the 90s.
He was an advertising guy. He went to New York. He ran out of ideas, so he went to what is that, mental facility, and used those guys as an advertisement. You used to see it, man.
does he think that was me when I said I was going to go to an insane asylum?
I don't know.
I think you're gonna find a lot of ideas there.
Yeah, I would.
It's called Crazy People. It's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, Ricky and I were talking about we just get high in the garage with a whiteboard. And what we could come up with would probably be pretty crazy.
That was us.
That's how Longboards started.
It still is. Wait a minute.
Yeah, is that how you come up with your new rap ideas?
Yeah.
Don't give
like-
away all our secrets.
Yeah.
That's six. One more time.
Except for John, he's clean.
Corporate.
Yeah, he's corporate.
He's the Boy Scout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
corporate.
He said allegedly. They don't really do it.
We'll besmirch our
Yeah.
family names.
Yeah, HR exists.
Yeah.
That would be my wife.
That's becoming more and more true each day.
Yeah.
She is a lawyer, so it
Yeah, she's,
Yeah.
it
I'm
falls.
gonna get
that
home and
helps.
she's gonna quote me all the policies that we violated tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, yeah.
right,
It says over the list of timestamps. No, once again, we could talk for hours. There will definitely be a episode 2
Oh,
that we have to
Sure,
have.
Appreciate
Time
that.
is it here.
It's 9:30 already.
Yeah, I got my kids are in bed now.
Yeah.
So you got all night then.
Yeah. Now
What
it's
you're saying? Yeah, now it's time to go. Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go home right now because my wife want to discuss discuss why I don't do shit a lot. You know, you still have a business to run. I'm
At
like,
what point does she not want to discuss that? Like 10?
just people see the struggle for 20 years.
10:30?
Hell no.
10:30 her
They
show
weren't
comes
there when
on.
about to like Cisco's asking me for a check.
Like, I
Damn.
don't have any money, so I can't pay you.
Yeah. Here, I'll give you a check. You know, it's not worth
Yeah.
anything.
You're gonna want to hold on to that for a couple weeks.
But one thing about business really is like for us, our success is also is minimize your debt.
Yeah.
I mean, people are surprised that you guys are not in debt. It's like, no, because we're all self-funded. When you start a business, don't buy everything that you think you're gonna need. Just buy accordingly as you expand.
There's two sides to that coin, though, because that's like the rich man,
Operations guy
poor
sees
man
it
debt.
differently.
So I went with a little
Operations guy
different.
sees it a little differently.
I went a little different route where a lot of companies look from like build from the bottom up.
Yeah,
I went from build from top down.
Yep.
Where it was
they can both work. It's just higher risk,
it
but
is
it's higher reward.
it is a higher risk, but it streamlines the timeline a lot. But that's why I knew I also had to go seek out a lot of very high level mentorship.
You just
to do
got to
it
have ice in
correctly.
your veins
Yeah.
for it. I mean, you got to be able to sleep with it.
We've moved
Yeah.
really
Most people
slowly
can't
because
go to
of
bed with $1 million in debt.
So my thing is, I
Wait.
didn't really carry. I didn't take on a lot of
that.
debt.
You gave equity.
I gave equity. So
Yeah.
it was I could do an equity sale or I could do a debt call. So it was like, which one did I pick?
Gave him a dowry.
But it was like my thing was I funded,
Nice goat.
but I funded $1.5 million pretty quickly.
But if you bring on the right people who have the right expertise,
That's
that's a multiplier.
what I
That's the
thought.
difference.
I thought from that side I could put the right people that could help develop me at a faster rate. If I develop myself at a faster rate and I bring the right leadership group on, and then that they could run the operation, we'd be able to run a. I look at now 40 people, and you guys have a lot more. Where you look at all your people. If I come in a day, I can work with the leadership side to then move everyone forward. Where if we optimize everyone 1 hour a day, that there's no mathematical equation that I can get that much time optimizing myself.
Yeah.
That the movement becomes the only way to win is downline.
Sure.
There is no other winning. To where it's hard to kind of like think about that, but it is. I knew for those people to develop, I had to have the right people in place. So I pulled the trigger on a lot of big money hitters.
Yeah.
That it was like financially, people were looking at it as like, makes no sense. You're going to run full speed into the red. And I ran to where it was like,
As you said earlier, the people that you brought on are the people who are going to tell you definitively, don't go left, go right.
Yeah.
Man, we could have spent 4 years going left before we knew it was the wrong way to go.
Yep.
And this guy came in day one and sent us right. We earned our time back.
yeah. And that's what I don't think most people don't look at it that way. Most people don't look as there's choices that we've made that have saved us 4 or 5 years on business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you look at that as a couple of them that now we're playing in a whole different realm of agencies out there.
Yeah.
In a very, very quick clip. 2.5 years ago, we were still in my basement.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, that's very fast.
but it's, I'm going to say the basement, I didn't have a lot of movement in the basement. It was like a kind of a frat house down there just hanging out. Like,
Yeah.
business really kind of turned up once we moved out of the basement. But it was just I don't know, it's probably the same thing. Like, once you guys start catching that pace, and after that second location was probably the hardest thing to pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
And then third location was probably difficult. Now you're looking at 8, 9, 10, like, you're looking at those, like, oh, that's another location. Like, we know what to plug in. We know what we need
It
to
does
do.
get easier
And
in some
get
ways.
easier.
Gets harder in others. Because we built a business basically off friends and family.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize it, but I mean, most of the people that have served you, Longboards, have been connected to us through blood or friendship, or I mean, we're just now getting to the point where we've got kind of I don't want to say fringe. That's not the right word, but we've got people that are running our stores and stuff for us that we didn't grow up with or didn't know our cousin, or it's,
But I think that's the crazy thing that's happening. Like, when we had our leadership group, we went to the River Market. I'm like, I have no earthly idea how to hire another person. Like, what do we do? Like,
Don't want to mess it up.
it'd been friends. Like, everybody I'd hired been sitting at this bar here having drinks.
Yeah.
Like we'd sat right here at this bar at the corner having drinks. That's where I hired everybody.
Sure. That's usually how it goes.
And I was like, I don't know how to do it outside of that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we literally didn't know how to receive an application until like 6 years ago.
But
We're like, well, we don't even know this person. How can we
So,
hire them?
I will say what we've started doing is like when I talk, so we have an 8:30 Monday morning meeting every single week over the whole company. If you have a friend or you have somebody that you know out there that's looking to get into this industry and wants to join a winning team, I don't care what their skill set is. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. It's wild that like we have this new content dude that's lights out. Great.
Nice.
One of the content guys, he's like, I got a buddy that's working at another place. He's not very happy. I was like, let me have a conversation with him. He comes in and he's like, this place is sick. And he's like, we're talking about how we have editors also. He's like, you guys have editors? I don't have to edit everything? I was like, no. I was like, I want you to have your evenings.
Yeah.
He's like, I've been editing it in the evening every night for the last like 3 years. I was like, I go, that used to be us. We saw it as a problem. We need to fix it. Well, I'm like, we fixed that. Now we have editors. So you come back, you offload things. I'm like, you give the editors critiques. And he's like, I want to come over here. And this dude hasn't been with us for 60 days, and it's just unbelievable.
Nice.
So it's just like, we have this person knows this person, and this person knows it. I'm like, now all of a sudden you have 40 people in their network.
Yeah.
One day we're going to have 100 people in their network of people.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You have those people in your organization that love being a part of your organization. That if you just vocalize it sometimes and say, hey, like if you know anybody that wants to be a part of something of what we're building, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, and they just like kind of trickle in.
For you, it becomes this thing of like, how do you create an environment where that guy who comes over, he's 60 days in, and eventually he'll be a year in, and 2 years, and 3 years in, and you go, okay, how do I help you continue to recreate yourself and continue to do something new and different, and not somewhere else?
Yeah.
Not get stale here. It's I mean, that's on you as the leader to say, okay, man, like you own this world. You explore this space. And by the way, I learned this thing, and I'm going to help you with this thing that I learned.
Yeah. And I think we do have the luxury that our lives and our business never really look the same all the time.
Yeah, that's great.
We just have so much different stuff happening. So like every time they come out and film content for you guys, it's different. Like different ideas, there's different things being executed. There's just there was a lot of things that I kind of all the stars aligned with marketing and what I always had the vision of what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Early days, it was nowhere near what I was visioning it to be. We're getting closer to what that vision is supposed to be.
Yeah. You know, it's so in the world that we live in, we've got this conversation we have of, we'll never go backwards. We're only going to go forwards. And that could be as simple as like, at one point in time we had a skirt steak, and that was just what was part of the recipe. And so we had an opportunity to get flank steak, and it's as simple as, I mean, it's a much better cut of steak. But even if we're talking about like the kombucha that we do, if we're talking about the specials that Gilbert puts together, it's always, are we doing something to make us collectively better? And it could be a small thing or it could be a big thing. But it's a mindset that you have to wake up every morning and say, what are we doing today to make this whole place better?
You know how I think longboards could go viral on a national level all the time?
Oh, really?
Gilbert becomes the guy that goes over the specials. Just let that be as one thing.
Yeah.
Don't do any other content. What your brain that comes up with those specials is you want to talk about the nail in the coffin marketing deal?
Have you had the Cajun Mac wrap yet?
I have not.
Well, that just came out 2 days ago.
I did see the video on it.
Yeah. The video's out.
It's like if you just did like Gilbert, like a video of Gilbert coming up with what it is.
Sure.
I can do that.
People would eat that alive. Like, and just be yourself, like coming up with it, like trying, like my thing is I look at those and I'm always kind of mind blown of like, who thought, like, why did you put this together? Yeah.
It's called like 2 steps ahead of the game. Like a competitor will come up anytime soon for us, right? We'll have better stuff than us. But the thing is, they have to chase us now because we establish ourselves in this market.
Yeah.
And that's what we want them to do, is chase us.
Well, and so we do a new special every 2 weeks, and there's nobody like us that can do a special every 2 weeks, and that's because he's back there going, okay, I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna put this thing together, and it's gonna be bizarre, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Which if you film that, like, I'm telling you, like, mark my words.
So it might have to be a little performative.
Well, there's
because the way he does it, he just goes, "This is it," and we're like, "Well, how'd you come up with that?"
Well, there's
It just did.
Because whenever you're working on it, bring in it. We'll send a video guy over. Whenever you're working on it, just one video guy
okay.
comes
Well,
over, and whenever you're working on it, let them pull something out of it.
The thing is, I had this. I was watching this guy named Ike's Sandwiches. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They're like in West Coast. They have this Dutch crunch bun. This is what I want to do. Is like I want to go around restaurants and order fancy stuff and then wrap it.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, we can do this
We've
same
been talking
shit.
about that one for a while. Like, bring your
Yeah.
meal in. We'll make it better.
Yeah, we'll go to like a Summit Grill and order something. And they're like, check it.
Throw it
this
all
out.
in the wrap.
Throw it all in the wrap, and I'll
Sauce
have
on
a
it.
mini panini machine.
Maybe not.
Check it out.
But it's like I think that there's certain things in businesses that like can't be duplicated. When you can figure out what those things are, like there is a legitimate marketing play on that stuff all day, every day. That
We
you
figured out a long time ago that the specials he comes up with, like it's just what he does. You know, there's not him
Man,
at
back
every
in the
single
old
place. So
days-
that's what makes us unique.
yeah, it's pretty
We were
wild.
bold back in the old days. We were
Yeah,
like,
the naming of them was bold.
I
back
know,
in
man.
the old
Like,
days.
I had FU Subway. What else?
The Chipotle killer.
The Chipotle killer. Yeah. Chipotle
So
sucks.
we get to a point now where we've been doing this for so long that we'll have like the Chipotle killer and the Mac wrap, but then he wants to create new things. But we have customers who are like, bring back the Mac Lethal. And they're getting like militant about it. You know, like, but Gilbert has
OG
18 more
boy,
ideas
man.
we got to do first.
What was the?
Oh,
You guys had
Chipotle.
one that had like the sushi roll in it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
San Diego
That's actually,
Yeah.
we're going to bring that back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Let me know when that
But, like,
comes.
we don't
I
have
was
enough
going
weeks
there
in a year.
every single day getting that. I was like, dude, this is the best wrap I've ever had.
No, it's great.
I'm getting it every day. I walk in one day. I was like, tell them what I want, and they're like, we don't have any more. I'm
That
like,
was yesterday.
I was like, oh,
That's about the two-step that people have to chase us.
Yeah.
I mean, we doing this crazy stuff that, you know, like I want them to have fun with it. Especially now, our general manager handling a lot of their specials. Like, have fun. Don't hold back. Just be stupid about it. You know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Do it again. You know, pick up
We'll
another
replace it with something that does if it doesn't work.
Exactly.
yeah.
But
Back in the day, speaking of the fuck you Subway wraps, he would name some wraps, specials and stuff. 'Cause we used to do daily. Like we would have a new special
that
every
was
day.
one restaurant.
That was
two.
crazy. It would be the equivalent today of naming something like Diddy sauce on the Epstein Island wrap.
yeah,
And you know he
It's
would
called
he
the
would name it and he would
cancelable,
throw his
names,
he would
dude.
throw his you know his shit down on the table, be like, that's it.
Funny, yeah, and he'd write it on the board. But
We're
there was
done.
No social
See you
media
guys
at that point in
tomorrow.
time.
And
it was
we're-
going
he-
nowhere, but the people that walked
We
in.
see his car leaving. We're like, so yeah, we just hand wrote our specials. So we're like, fuck this shit. We're gonna get sued. Fuck you. And we would
My
change the name.
name.
He'd come in and be like, you changed the name. I'm like, I don't know. who
Somebody
that.
did.
Somebody did.
And
Yeah.
he'd be like,
I
It's
think
like
a cus-
Spider-Man. All of them pointed at
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a customer did it.
It was
like,
almost
what is your
like-
special? Fuck you, Subway. But tell them about how the OG came about. You know, the OG size, because you got regular size and then OG size. Because those guys from
big
Olympic
boys
Gym,
walk in. They want
they
more
come in
protein,
and they
so
always like
double it.
order like 2 of them. And I was like, hey man, check this out. So I was like, what you want? Cabo. So I made it bigger. 2 tortillas. Then I rolled it and they're like, man, this is what you get in San Diego. But I didn't want to bring it out because, you know, that's how it came about. So everybody like from the gym saw it. And then they all like came down and like, hey man, I want my OG size, you know? Like, all right, permanent now. So
You know, and when you go to Chipotle, when they double up, they just literally layer like stack them.
Yeah.
I was there one day and I saw this really smart young lady do the OG style. I don't know if she was a customer of ours. I was like, fuck, they're catching on. You know, because she layered it where it was like the trifle, like
Yeah.
the 3 layers, you know, and she did it just like our OG layout.
I
And I was
learned that from my Mexican
Uh-oh.
brothers. I mean, they taught me all the skills. I mean, you know, like back in the days, we used to heat up
Yeah, yeah.
because so they're more pliable, they're more like stretchy. But we stopped that because
Too
people
time
just kept
consuming.
waiting and
Yeah.
waiting, and so I was like, all right, we just trying to wrap it regularly without heating it up, and it works.
Yeah.
So now we're a little bit faster.
Yeah, we'll heat after instead of before.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So, and then what the kamikaze?
Like literally 3 wraps, 3 tortillas in one.
I know I've seen videos though. I haven't. I don't order that.
Yeah, don't. I mean,
There was
you're
a
on your
gentleman.
own.
There was
No,
a gentleman
man.
that was like 6'9" that used to come in, and I watched him eat 3 of those.
Yeah. We have to make them actually next time. You have to make them
Yeah, way
silent.
more.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean, it's like, dude, I don't have a lawyer.
You guys need to do some eating contest deal where you make like
did.
one.
We did an eating
Huh?
contest.
It's called kamikaze.
We might bring it back.
We
Kamikaze
should.
challenge.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to film it all and document it. Like when people come in there, and like you post that out there, and you would probably end up with like people flying in to try it.
I mean, eating
we did
competitor-
that.
Eating competitor reached on us. Like he do those Nathan's hot
Yeah.
dog eating contest. He reached out, but he was like on tour, U.S. on tour. You know what I mean? He goes to
On tour.
restaurant and do the challenge on the restaurants, and then he reached out to us like, no, we don't want to do that.
I mean, we could sit him down and then let people challenge him. Or something.
It's like his
Logan,
timing is like 20
It's in your
minutes.
court, man. Whenever you want to bring it back.
Logan's court.
It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be cool. And then I think there's a lot you can do to piggyback off around that too.
Yeah.
People can get shirts or something, and like they go out and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, they got a shirt that they did that, and it was like get the picture on the wall in there, and then also just I feel like it builds an energy in the place when somebody's doing it. Then everyone's like, oh, I gotta eat
Oh,
my
yeah.
food here, watch what's happening, and like, and
It was a lot of fun when we did it.
yeah,
It went surprisingly well.
Well, the thing is, you know, like you see the other Mexican style, like big burritos, they fall apart. But ours like stays.
We had the video this week
It's all
that we
toasted
put together of
and
like
everything, so.
eating while you're driving, which I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't send that past the lawyers or anything, but you know, if you try to eat some burritos, the other guys.
It's not labeled. It's not like came out of foil or something. It's already.
It's right there.
That can be
It's easy.
anywhere.
yeah. He made that wrap at home. He was just
Yeah, right.
I actually specifically remember that.
yeah,
Have you seen that video this week?
yeah. He made it at home. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
No,
It wasn't.
I was there.
They made that.
yeah,
I cooked the chicken.
yeah. We made that at the office.
That's awesome.
But no, I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah.
I really
Likewise, brother.
love working with you guys. I love the product, the service, the whole nine. Like I said, it holds a special spot for me too.
Thank you for
So-
MMG making our digital footprint kind of, you know, they know us a little bit in Kansas City now.
Yeah, that's on you
Yeah,
guys.
no,
I mean, we
I-
didn't
I-
know
I
shit
had-
about that.
I had someone
Yeah.
over on New Year's, and he's in marketing himself, and he goes, "Man, you guys have been killing it on your marketing lately."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, it's it help." And he didn't know that. And I was like, "Who is it?" And we talked about it for a while, but he loved it. He loves everything we're putting out.
Yeah.
Helping us with.
And that's once again, you guys have the personalities. Like you guys make our job easy, and there's a majority of the companies we work with, we strategically position ourselves with the right companies that they have the product, they have the service, where it's the marketing will work, and it's if you don't have those two things, you're not going to outmarket it.
People can tell now. They see like it came out Gilbert's iPhone. You know, people always like, "Hey,
Broken
did
English.
you hire a marketing company?"
Yeah.
Your videos are getting
Yeah, they're better.
Yeah.
It looks better.
Look like professional done. Over here.
Gosh, I had people who were like, "Who's doing this stuff?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"We're doing it." I mean, in the old
It's-
days, you
I
know?
tell people all the time, I'm like, there's companies that we'll talk to, and they're like, yeah, we pay a marketing company. I'm like, it doesn't look like it. I was like,
It's a tough balance,
it is.
you know.
But I look at it as like, if you're going to pay money for marketing, the outside world should know you pay money for marketing.
Yeah.
That you don't see a Community America commercial pop up. I bet they do their own marketing. I bet they're doing that themselves. Like I bet Sally Sue in the back has her iPhone out.
tried. For a long time.
Or like the guy selling cars down off Truist or something. He's like, as is.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, if the
If
ring
it
goes-
only
If the
worked,
tranny
yeah.
ain't slipping, don't come back tripping.
yeah,
I saw that guy. I was like, oh, he did it. He finally said it. I was like,
Don't bring
Yeah.
that shit back.
Yeah.
That
But-
was- yeah.
no, it's just, I don't know. I think people should know you pay for marketing. Like, if it's done at a professional level, which professional companies as you scale, but there's still a way that you can have professional entertainment, information, all of it brought together, and it works all in unison.
Yeah, and I mean, so Logan and Bree, Cody and Jack and the other guys. I mean, I can tell you from our point of view, we send a lot of shit at them, and they do it and they send it back, and not only is it what we want, but it's also like, hey, I thought about this a little bit more and added this on top.
They're all phenomenal. I'm going to give 100% of the credits to everyone that works around me. Like I said, it's outgrown myself. It's the leadership team does a phenomenal job at running the account managers and the content creators, and the way that the content creators run when they go out places, and the way that our account managers focus very heavily on what communication looks like on their forefront. And it's just like, my thing is our process is only going to evolve. Our product is going to get better. It's the only thing that's ever going to happen. It's really cool. The clients that we have that we've worked with for like 4 years since we've started almost.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, it's pretty wild. Like what it looks like now with you guys to what it started off looking like.
Sure.
I'm like, I'm actually pretty surprised you paid us in the beginning. I'm like, kind of crazy.
That's okay.
I'm like,
That's how it goes.
now we sell something. I'm like, yeah, it's worth that
Yeah,
price.
right.
I'm like, people paid us 4 years ago for this. I was like, that wasn't worth shit. It's
That's
like,
way better.
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Production. I mean, you can tell. I mean, remember those commercials back in the days? You know, like Kia on Oleto or something. You know?
He just targets
Shout out
exact
to Kia.
location.
It's a
He goes,
short
you know,
drive.
like,
You know that one?
You know, like Kia, you know,
You know the
like,
manual?
That
Yeah.
old man's like, on Oleto.
yeah.
But you remembered it.
I know, I remember. And what is that?
Have you bought a Kia?
Hemorrhoid center.
Have you bought a Kia from Olathe? Then it was remember they didn't monetize it.
Yeah, he did one consideration.
Yeah.
Every time I drive, I hear that damn jingle like, show them Mishu Kia. It's a short drive.
Parkway.
I-35. And
But-
then,
Yeah.
But you have not bought a Kia.
I mean, those are, I mean, even like that are like high production. I mean,
Oh, the money that people spend at a commercial level, once you get into corporate world, is wild. Like
Oh,
it,
sure.
and it's my thing is,
Armies of people.
and I look at it sometimes. I'm like, there's companies that will spend $200,000 to $400,000 on a
30 minutes, 30
a
seconds.
15 to 30 second ad, and you watch it, and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Right.
I'm like,
Big shot advertising company. in
I
New
was
York.
like, but it's just, I'm looking at it, I was like, there's no earthly idea that I can even come close to fathoming how you price this out and how you sold somebody on paying that much. But these big corporate companies are just, that's the price tag that they've deemed that they're going to pay for it. To where it's like, I mean, you could have McDonald's can pay for a chicken nugget ad and spend $300,000 on a chicken nugget ad that you may spend that money in marketing over the next 2 years, and it's a 15-second ad. I'm like, you're watching it. I'm like, dude, give me a thing of chicken nuggets, and Ricky and I will put it. We can have it put together tomorrow for by noon.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, we're gonna hit it at
$150.
95% of what that was. I
Yeah.
was like, it just, I don't know, but
It's crazy, you know. Like they have the company, they have advertising company, and then they hire another advertising company to do that. It's
It-
crazy.
I did see that as a big problem in the marketing space. Is most marketing companies you talk with, they just contract stuff all over. So it's like if you went to, trying to think of like I think almost like a building a house, but you didn't go through like a builder has like all their people, but if you just like, hey, I'm just gonna find a subcontractor, this guy actually does none of it.
Yeah, eventually it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, and it's like,
I've got people's
but it's also if they're hiring a bunch of people that they don't even really know, And I saw when I saw on the other side of the fence, I tried to use like an ad agency and a media company, and there's just a poor level of communication between the two. And then the ball was dropped over here, and then they're saying it's their fault. They're saying it's their fault, and it's just like no accountability anywhere. And I was just like, it just seemed like a disastrous process all the time.
Yeah. By design.
Yeah. Which my thing is, I've always, since we've started this, was how do we make that process enjoyable, that the clients that are working with us, like, hey, we have a lineup of clients now that are like, we really enjoy the process. It's getting better. Like, and then it's also like, what's the feedback? How do we become better? Like, tell us what you would like to see. Like, those are the things that are just always happening to move the ship forward. Instead of just saying like, oh, this is how we do it. Screw you guys. Like, if you don't fit it, and hit the road.
There's a lot of ego in that world.
Yeah, there's. But
Yeah.
it is.
Hour past my bedtime.
I know.
All right.
There'll be an episode 2. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Drop all the longboard links below. Make sure.
Thank you, Mr. Boss Man.
But make sure if you're in the Kansas City area, you check out Longboards. I promise you won't be disappointed. And there's always new specials popping up. So continue to drop in, check those out. That's the M3 Podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.